I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if
should lead this.
Yeah, that's really high.
I will then also use, since it's an important roll. There's something out there. I'll consume 2 momentum to take us to 5, especially since it's difficulty 3, and question the testing a theory into practice says that if you have successfully done a roll in this past sort of field before in this adventure, then you get certain advantages. Vosky has done that, but he did it hunting the prison ship. Is that the same adventure, or is that a separate adventure?
I'm counting that separate because you definitely did not have the benefits of the starbase to do that. So this is kind of like 2 separate things. It's like you're working on the engine on your car, but then in the next adventure you have to replace the engine on a Boeing 747. They're similar, but they're really not.
Absolutely. Okay, in that case, Vosky is going to do his best with this result.
And this is experimental technology, right?
I would say, yeah, you guys are kind of jury-rigging a bunch of random shit together to get it to work. So nice. So the difficulty was 3, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 successes, so that's 5 momentum. So you have 2 bonus momentum, and you're maxed out at 8. So I will go ahead and tell you, you do not detect a Romulan warbird there. However, you do detect a faint ion trail. So what are your questions? Also, you're a science officer, Vosky, so you get a free question if I remember correctly. So you technically have three bonus questions essentially.
Okay.
Maybe something around what kind of ion trail it is, whether it's Federation or Romulan. I'm not asking that. I'm talking to the science officer.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to think of a question along similar lines, which is, from that ion trail, can we tell either A, what class of ship it is, or B, if it's not that precise or we just lack information, we can kind of guess it's roughly this big because its engines are producing roughly this amount of stuff.
For your bonus science officer question, I will tell you it's a Valdor class warbird.
Okay. So hang on, I'm just noting that down on my little sheet of paper. So it's a Valdor class warbird. That's interesting. I'm quickly googling that because I can't remember which one the Valdor class is.
Star Trek Nemesis.
Right. Okay. Oh no. So
not the scimitar, not the huge one, but the ones that the regular Romulan warbirds that were kind of helping Picard at the end.
Less
the one that my twin was flying.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. So Vosky will alert those on the bridge that there is a Valdor class warbird out there.
Was
yeah. Does the ion trail just cut, or does it just slowly fade away?
Well, the ion trail is fading because time. But you can tell that it was there, and then it kind of veered off and left. Like it's not like it just disappeared. It literally just was there doing something, and then it turned around and left.
Okay. The reason why I ask about the just cut rather than fade away, not the whole trail but the end of it, is because if it left at sublight, the trail would presumably go just out past the range of our sensors. If it left at warp, then it'll just disappear as it suddenly ceases to exist.
Can we also tell by... Sorry?
I was just going to say, you could tell that it initially veered away at impulse, and then once it got like a suffice enough distance away for you guys not to detect a massive energy surge, it went to warp.
Okay.
So I'm on the bridge at this point, right?
Yeah, I would say all 3 of you are on the bridge.
Sure. I'll just ask, so I don't have the speciality in this, but is there any way to tell by the warp trail itself if it's damaged?
There could be. Just from a technobabble standpoint, probably, maybe. But from a point of view of like, can I, as the GM, think of a reason for that? Not really. I honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
At this point, I will tell you at this stage that probably wouldn't be important to the overall story. So that
I think the way we do it is if there was a pollutant, so like something had leaked into the ion trail that made us go, this particular engine fluid shouldn't be leaking. Why is it leaking?
Right.
But
Yes,
yeah.
I do have a specialization in warp field dynamics and quantum mechanics.
So do you want to use your last momentum to find out if the Romulan warbird is defective in any way from an engine standpoint, or do you want to save the momentum for the bonus?
I would like to ask something a little more general than that.
Okay.
Is there anything unusual about the engine configuration and status?
No, it looks like a stock Valdor warbird. I will tell you that the cloaking device seems to be, if the Romulans use version 3 and the scimitar is like version 4, then they're using like a 3.5, something not as good as the scimitar, which could fire during warp. And also could have shields up, but is definitely way better than the normal average warbird would have.
Is the 3.5? Kind of... You first, Carava.
Oh no, you first.
Okay.
Just so you know, you've used
the 3.5.
You've used all your bonus momentum, so now we're going to go into your regular momentum. If you keep going.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So okay, since these are momentum questions, I'll ask a different one before I ask something further about the Valdor,
Okay.
Which is, can we tell from its course at sublight and then where it went to warp, what its heading would have been, where it was going roughly?
Roughly Romulan space.
Oh,
that's
okay,
about as specifically as I can get.
Absolutely fair. Okay, you next, Carava.
I was gonna ask, did it have any identifying signatures, as in like a name or anything, something that we could try and track through, what's the ship's name?
You are not reading a. I'm not going to make you spend momentum on this because you're not going to get any information, but you do not read any ship transponder that would give you a name or a registry.
Well, I'll report to Carava and Lex that it seems to be discreetly I'll report this, that it seems to be an experimental and highly efficient cloaking device on this vessel that we've detected that left.
In the most up-to-date cloaking device or older model?
Fairly up to date. Not the highest technology version I've seen, but those versions are very rare.
Would I know? Would I know if the Telshia would use that older type of cloaking device?
You could probably guess with probably a 75% accuracy that this is, if not operated currently by the Tal Shiar, that it is one of their vessels, at least if not at the moment, it was in the past. That level of cloaking shielding is not exactly military issue.
Okay, yeah. She's working on a theory that it's basically anti-establishment traditionalists who are trying to use this as some sort of way to wrestle the government back in.
Okay, and I will also go ahead and remind you that the fake Tal Shiar orders came from that location.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
So would I be correct in saying from what people have been saying about the cloaking devices that the 3.5 is now obsolete?
No, it's the most up-to-date. So it'd be like if you bought a 2018 car. You could get the 2022, but you definitely don't want the 2001. It's almost the best you can get without completely blowing all of your money. So
Right.
like the Scimitar in Nemesis had the completely up to date version for that moment, but it also probably was the only ship that had that cloaking device. So it was kind of like a prototype.
Okay.
Whereas now they're slowly getting to that point where all Romulan ships will eventually have that level of technology.
I see. So when you said it's not military issue, you meant it's too good to be military issue,
Exactly.
like
Yep.
standard, rather
Yep.
than it's old.
It's
Ah,
probably
alright.
it's probably up to date for the Tal Shiar.
Right. Okay.
She'll confer with Mac. This is probably a rogue faction in the Tal Shiar who are experimenting on who are probably experimenting on these worms, and they either took over the project or they started the project, and they're probably trying to find the risk control of the trying to wrestle control back to them. It's her theory.
Speaking of which, you guys have made it to the infirmary of Starbase 123, where Subcommander Drenal has been detained, restrained, and they are currently activating the massive body scanner that is going to give them more information. The Dr. Nari, the Dosai medical professional, turns to you guys and the security chief of the starbase and says, "It would be very beneficial if we could capture a parasite alive. We have yet to be able to do so. They tend to die or escape when they leave their host. But for now, we'll scan him and figure out exactly why the parasite left him in alive, essentially."
Is he currently conscious?
I mean, yeah, I can't remember. Did you guys knock him? I don't think you guys knocked him out before you took him to sickbay, did you?
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I just want to make sure before I go on this whole other tangent.
Oh,
But yeah, he's out. You could tell, strangely enough, even though they gave him enough to knock out probably 3 or 4 men, he is struggling in his sleep. Like he's restless. Like he's clearly asleep or unconscious, but he's like moving and twitching, and like he's not. He's definitely struggling, if not with the binds, then or the force field, then definitely with some kind of internal struggle. So yeah, Dr. Nari will turn to you guys and say, if you would assist me in this, I will need one of you to manually increase the sensor resolution, and I will need the other to ensure that the quarantine force field does not collapse. So in mechanical terms, this is going to be a reason medicine for the doctor, difficulty 5, and then you two will assist with either security or engineering or science. But I'm guessing you're going to choose engineering if you're a operations officer. Unless your
Yes,
science
I'm
is
choosing
better.
engineering.
Okay. So
I'll choose security.
okay. So reason security and reason engineering. I'll need one from each of you, and I will roll. And then difficulty's 5. Do you want me to spend momentum to get some more dice?
Yes, please.
Okay. How many momentum do y'all want me to use? Or I can give myself
it's 3 out
threat.
of 3.
You want 5 total?
Yeah.
All right.
Just be on safe side.
Okay. So that would put you. Is anyone opposed to the idea? That would put you to 2 momentum.
Oh yes.
All right. And I'm going to roll her reason and medicine, and we'll see what happens. Nice. So you got the 5 successes that you needed. A lot of zeros in there, though. That could have been really bad. If you had gotten only 4 dice, you wouldn't have gotten it. So the scanner, does its job. Actually, you know what? Let me roll a d20 for the Starbase computer. Yeah, it failed. So the scanner does its job. It scans them extremely. It does an in-depth security and medical scan, mainly medical. And you determine that there is some sort of foreign biochemical compound in Subcommander Drenal's nervous system. It is causing him at the moment internal pain, and you can tell by the scan that it would make it easier for the neuroparasite to vacate his body, but there would still be a 50-50 chance of him dying. So this isn't something that he just flipped a switch and said, get out of my body, get out of my head. This is something where he had direct communication with this creature, and essentially, like I told you in the last game, there is some sort of alliance going on between these neuroparasites and whatever, and Subcommander Drenal, or perhaps even another group or faction that he belongs to. Would you like to spend momentum to ask any questions?
Only 2 momentum. We need to be careful.
Yeah, and also just to put this out there, there's not a
Yeah.
whole lot of more answers I can give you on this. It is doing slow damage to his body, this biochemical compound. So I'm gonna leave this. The doctor wants to kind of try to flush it out of his body, and save his life, and do all the doctory things that doctors want to do. But security chief turns to you. What was his name? Senior Chief Petty Officer Adriel. He turns to you and he says, I think if we just leave him in there, that chemical compound will dissolve him from the inside. I don't see any reason why we should stop that.
It could be useful to give us more information on who he's working for.
He nods. Yeah, I suppose so. That's a possibility. And he looks to Karava. What about you? What do you think?
I suppose besides the scientific information we could have studying text, I think it'd probably be best if we flush his system. That way we can begin interrogations.
He nods. Very well. I'll let the doctor know. He goes over to the doctor and whispers, make me an insight security roll. I'm not going to tell you the difficulty, though.
Okay. I'm gonna use a thing. What's it called? A momentum.
Okay.
And can I also use a threat?
All right. So you'll give me a threat and spend a momentum. So you're down to 1 momentum, and I have more than 1 threat. That's what I'll say.
Insight and security.
Yep. Are you rolling 2, Mac?
Yeah. I
Wow.
want to.
The hell?
Dude, you're Tal Shiar. How do you... Okay.
She's currently thinking about.
Yeah.
She's currently thinking about all the wacky experiments
Yeah.
that she's been assigned to
Yeah.
in the Tal Shiar. that replicating, fast replicating clone technology that almost killed me. Oh.
So, Colonel Lex, as you are standing in between Karava and the security chief of the starbase, you overhear him telling the doctor, who just to so because I'm sure this will come up. So he is an senior enlisted individual. So he is technically below you in rank, but he is the security chief of the starbase. The medical officer, the doctor, is a civilian. He has no authority directly over her, especially in medical matters. So you overhear him telling her, I think you should just let him. We've talked about it. I think you should just let this chemical process do its job, and we don't have to really worry about healing him or saving his life. He is a traitor after all.
I look at him in disgust. Like, what the fuck?
Do you say that? Do you say anything, or are you just gonna look at him?
I go, we're planning to save his life, you know that.
he turns and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just giving my honest opinion. I have no intention of murdering this man. I think he's very dangerous, and we definitely do not need any more complications."
I reckon the Romulan Republic will definitely not be too happy with that.
He betrayed the Romulan Republic.
Well, basically, they tend to like to handle traitors very differently to Starfleet.
Well, I'm just an enlisted man, so I think you're making a big mistake, but who am I to say? And he kind of turns and begins to head out. I wouldn't say he storms out, but he's definitely moving quickly and emotionally towards the door.
To clarify, because he was talking about traitors to the Romulan Empire, is this the security chappie who's Starfleet or a Romulan security chappie?
He's Starfleet.
Okay. I mean, I have many things that I could say or comment. I am not there.
Basically, he looks at Caravo and says,
Hey,
"Did you just? Did you
Yeah, I
just
got
hear
some.
that? You wanted to
oh, you
kill
taking
him."
all of them? Oh, nice.
Oh, sorry. Did you say something?
See ya.
Yeah, the security chief wanted to kill him.
Oh, you mean, Trader McGee over there? Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Oh shit. Anyway, sorry about that.
Basically,
he could not give a fuck.
We probably should, maybe scan him, potentially.
yeah.
Are you talking about scanning the security chief?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Also,
Yeah.
he's out the door, so you better catch him if you want to, because he's heading somewhere.
Oh no, I'd say we should probably talk to the station, the head person of the station, and have them organize scans for everything. And
Yeah.
then we scan the chief first. Scan the chief, then ourselves. Go on.
All right, so you're heading to the commanding officer of the starbase?
But before we do that, I'll order my Ahuros.
Your Ulans?
Ulan
Your soldiers?
Ulans, that's it. Yeah, my Ulans. I'll get me all Ulans in. And I'll just have them stand guard to watch over here.
Okay. Yeah, the Romulans that are on this station, which again, like I said last time, they don't number very many at all, but the security the soldiers, they are definitely, there's that basically they're keeping a couple soldiers here regardless, no matter what. The doctor also kind of tells you that she's not going to let anything happen to him. Coming from a warrior race like the Dosai, she respects honor and duty, and it is her duty to ensure that he continues living, if not for his own sake, definitely for the sake of the fact that he's a living person. So, is there anything that you guys want to do before we jump back to the bridge of the Odyssey?
Oh, I'll ask the
That was pretty
doctor.
funny.
I'll ask the doctor. Was that a strange thing for the security chief to say in your?
I mean, he's kind of. He's one of those hardliners, with the Borg, he was all pro-virus, wipe them all out. He's not exactly, I mean, he is part empathic, so, when it comes to individuals, he's fine, but when it comes to, like, enemies of the state, he is definitely pro, get rid of them all. This is nothing new, especially when neuroparasites are concerned. He knew someone that was lost in 2364 during the original incursion. So this isn't like overly suspicious, but if he had continued to go down this road or like pulled a weapon or obviously anything like that, then it might have been cause for alarm. But this is, as far as she's concerned, and as far as she knows, this is just more of the same from him.
Okay. All right then. That's good to know. I'll just be a bit. I'll be a bit. that's all I can think of to say.
All right.
Oh, also, actually, I'll ask as well. Um, he doesn't he doesn't know that I'm against them yet. I was protesting stuff, like for them like knocking out and that. Do you want me to maintain that when he's awake? So I maybe what throw out information that way.
Sorry, it's really hard to hear. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi connection or what, but can you repeat that? I
Oh.
got to turn your volume up too.
Okay. I just said. I'll ask Max's character. Uh, he still thinks that I was opposed to the medical scan. You want me to maintain that and see if I can use that to sort of draw out information in that way?
I don't know. Basically, I find it weird that he would refuse medical treatment. Knowing that he'll die.
Uh,
Weird.
some of these projects, like some of the people who are on them, some of them are a bit diehard, and either he maybe didn't know that they would kill him, which wouldn't be a surprise to me, or he didn't care because of how we view restoring the old government, like the old style government. So either way, you know, yeah. So, well, I guess we'll come to it when we come. That's all I
Yeah.
can really ask. All I can really say.
All right, if you guys are done, I'm going to jump back to the bridge of the Odyssey, Silent Odyssey. So Vosky and all these K names, Kamina. Oh, after you guys have found out what you had a brief conversation with Colonel Lex and Karava. What do you do after that?
So have Colonel X and Karava in character updated about the suspicious activity of the security chief. Is that being just assumed because that wasn't done in the roleplay itself?
Honestly, I think that part is probably, I mean, unless you guys specifically say otherwise, kind of hand waved off, and as just a military guy being a military guy. But if you guys want to specifically, have a conversation over comms, over I will not to put a too fine a point on it, but over subspace communications, which can easily be eavesdropped on, sure, go ahead. But if you want to get together and have an in-person conversation, you can do that too. It's up to y'all.
Okay. The only reason why I ask is Vosky has things he will do or say if he knows what the guy just did. If he doesn't, nah.
Right. Yeah. Like I said,
Basically-
it's up to them if they want to tell you or not.
Okay.
Basically, Colonel Lex won't say anything until he sees you in person. So
Okay. Well, in that case, up on the bridge, we currently don't really have much of a reason to do anything other than keep an eye out and see what may be coming.
And we weren't
Generally
able to follow
monitor
this ion trail, right?
Correct. As far as you know, I'll pull you guys back onto the map so I can give you if you guys are here, Starbase 23, it went in this general direction towards Romulan space. But once it got out of your sector, it could have went up here to Starbase 173. It could have went down the Klingon space. It could have went over here. Like, it could have went anywhere after that.
Did it at any way seem like it was going in in sort of a straight line towards wherever Colonel Lex told me she thought the other ship actually was?
Oh, that's a good question. As far as you could tell, it did not think that you guys would determine its location. So it does go in a straight line. But like I said, once it gets to the sector, it could have gone anywhere. Tal Shiar do not exactly go in straight lines unless they're,
No. It is notable that, and of course this could be part of a feint, that it went in the exact opposite direction of the Dicarius, but,
Well, you also don't know if the Valdor class warbird has anything to do with the Dicarius. As far as you know, it just sent a fictional message to your Tal Shiar agent, and that's it.
Well, and I'll sort of pull Vosky aside because I don't know the security officer yet. Colonel Lex, he mentioned that the Dicarius might actually be in Romulan space, not where we thought it was. Conveniently, in the vague direction that this ship was heading. This Romulan ship.
What was Colonel Lex's rationale for coming to that conclusion?
She had it on good authority.
Okay, Vosky's not entirely satisfied by that. He notes it, and he's aware that he's talking to a colonel.
I'm a sub-commander, not a colonel.
Sub-commander. I do apologize, sub-commander. But he'll just nod his head and say, "Well, we may wish to investigate in that direction later, but until the investigations on the starbase are concluded, I would advise against taking this ship anywhere."
I mean, do we have any specific orders that we're supposed to follow out, or are we just free to kind of continue on this trail?
Well, that's what I was gonna get to. I just wanted to make sure that you guys had all your roleplay opportunities that you wanted to have. Because once you are finished with your conversation, you are going to be called to the commander's office.
So we can just recap real quick. It's somewhere within a very large region we don't know, and we don't really have a very good way of tracking it. So is our best course to like investigate? Just kind of like try and follow its trail and see if we can pick up eggs along the way, or
if you were to suggest that in character,
yeah, I say that in character.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing here? Because I just got to the ship.
Okay.
I'm sure it's totally fine. It was probably just heading back to Romulan space. Routine protocol.
Very well. Then what are our orders?
I was ordered to do routine sensor maintenance.
Who was like the senior? There's so many Romulans. Who's like the senior officer here?
I think I'm the highest rank right here right now.
Yeah,
maybe, but I might be the same rank as you.
Well, the ship does have a captain and a first officer, but they are kind of
from what I see, they're incapacitated. Yeah.
So as far as who's in charge, this is kind of like gamma shift. So like there's like a lieutenant or an ensign in charge of the bridge as a whole. And you guys were kind of asked to, or the two of you, Vosky and Camino, were asked to just go and do something on the ship. So you really didn't, like, the captain and the first officer know what you're doing, but they don't feel the need to be there for it. And because Lieutenant Commander Shamar is new and just transferring onto the ship, he's kind of, at least this is how I imagine it, he kind of entered the bridge while all this was going on and then kind of jumped in to assist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to Kamina if she wants to kind of bring him in any more than he already is. And like I said, if not, then I can go ahead and call you guys to the Starbase Commander's office.
Sure. I'll just say one last thing. I think in lack of other things to do, I don't see why we shouldn't pursue it. But I follow your orders.
So you guys here on your comm badges, the chirp. Well, I guess one of you has, or two of you have a comm badge. The chirp of Captain. What was her name again? I don't remember. It was something super ridiculous because name generators. Afuli, female denodulant captain of the Starbase 123. Captain Afuli says. Afuli to Kamina, and Vosky, and Shamar, please report to the conference room B on Starbase 123. Thank you.
Yes, sir. En route.
And we'll say this is kind of when Colonel Lex and Karava, you guys show up to the conference room as well, so that we can have everyone kind of
getting there at the same time, so that I don't have to keep bouncing back and forth. I'm gonna grab your. Oh, I already got that one.
Outside of the game, real quick, where are these screenshots taken from?
Google. Like I just Google,
Nice.
I just Google, sci-fi setting, and then I pick random shit that kind of
No, it's awesome. I like
halfway
it.
makes sense. Because I'm not
I
a
like it.
huge fan of the battle maps. I'm more of
Yeah.
I'm a fan of like the cinematic
Yeah.
view. I think I have everyone.
Especially for Star Trek, it works really well.
Yeah. If there's someone I did not get your token, just grab your token. But I think I got everyone.
My token's so dark, it just looks like a black. Like void.
Just black and gray. Yeah. Let's see.
Basically, he goes to Colonel Lex goes to Voss and he goes, "What is it with the Starfleet security and want to let people die?"
That is an immediate alarm bell to Vosky.
So yeah, we just walk into that conversation like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, okay, so Vosky will say that even enlisted personnel, that is an extraordinarily rare and alarming behavior and goes against many of the core ethics of Starfleet, particularly a helpless prisoner.
And since my character is completely oblivious, this happened to you recently?
Oh, the security chief, his comment was like, "We should just let him die because there's what he goes to what was the top?
What is his
some top
name?
city.
We should have his commission for this.
I was just like,
This is
what the
ridiculous.
As you guys are
like,
talking,
we're
the
gonna
doors
kill-
open and the captain walks in and says, "Please be seated," and takes a seat at the table. And then she looks between Shamar and Vosky and Colonel Lex, and she says, "Is there anything that you would like to bring to my attention?"
Vosky's going to pause for a couple of seconds to let the senior officers speak first, but if they don't, he
It's
will.
right out of my mouth. Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, Colonel Lex
Eh, eh.
being the ranking officer in that situation, she's specifically looking at you.
Basically, he goes, "Oh, the security chief said something randomly weird. Because we found out the our prisoner had a biological was attacking his nervous system. He just wanted to let the prisoner die."
Let me stop you right there, Colonel. I appreciate you bringing this to me, and in fact, the healer Nari has already expressed some similar concerns. You know, the alliance between the Romulans and Starfleet and the Federation is it's a good thing, but it could also cause some tensions, and it can also cause some miscommunication. I will be talking with Idril later on today, so I don't want you to worry about that. However, at the moment, I do have a mission for you. We have researched some of the source of that encrypted distress call in the Angosia sector that the Dacarius apparently went to go answer. And then she looks to Shamar and says, "The Dacarius was a Romulan prototype, an explorer intelligence ship that these fine crew members." She kind of gestures to your fellow player characters. She says that they were the bridge officers of. Once they went to investigate a derelict spaceship for some unknown reason, the Dacarius turned and just left them there. So we seem to have been able to locate at least a little bit this where the Dacariuses went. And she kind of pulls up a holographic map, and I'm going to move you guys to the map. And she says,
I'll kind of interrupt her and say, also, we saying this, he kind of looks to the senior officers. We detected a warp trail or an ion trail not too far off. Not a whole lot of information. It could be in a very large sector, but could this be related in any way?
she kind of furrows her brow in confusion and thinks for a moment, and she says, "Anything is possible, but as you can see," she kind of gestures to the map. Actually, there's a few other things I gotta. Are you guys able to see where it says Dacarius?
Yes.
With
Okay.
the green circle,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yes.
she kind of gestures to that and says that is where we believe it is located based on our sensors. It is right next to Station Dinar 1, which is an Angosian space station. And by right next to, I mean a couple days out at maximum warp. In space, it's all relative, of course.
Yeah.
As far as your sensor scan indicated, the Romulan warbird went in this other direction, which is not our main concern at the moment. We will investigate that, but for right now, we believe that Station Dinar 1, which was operated by Klingons and Angosians, is our main concern, especially since the Dicarius has just sent out a distress call itself. And of course, we are going to send you to investigate and potentially rescue the Dicarius. Sorry, go ahead.
But out of character question, at this point in the timeline, have the Angosians repetitioned to join the Federation? Are they in? Are they out? Are they pending?
The Angosians are part of the Klingon Empire now.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, interesting.
They
That's awesome.
Yeah, they definitely were not opposed to genetically enhanced warriors joining their culture. So
I don't suppose they would be.
so the problem, she says, just being 5 years from Dinar 1, the problem with this situation, besides the obvious of a Romulan ship but being so close to the Klingon Empire, is that Dinar 1 is not exactly a place where Klingons and Angosians go to retire or to pursue their careers. This is a place where they go to kind of die silently. Disgraced Klingons or dishonored Angosian warriors are sent here to mine Kelbonite in the nearby asteroid field. So essentially, this is not a huge bright bright spot in the career of a Klingon or Angosian. So why the Dicarius got a message from them to immediately go and pursue that line of investigation, we are unsure. However, we do still need you to go and investigate. And so that is all the information that we have at the moment. Do you have any questions?
What are our orders once we are in orbit of the planet?
Well, the NR1 is a space station, and it's in a
Oh, okay.
kind of like nearby a an asteroid field. However, once you get to Dinar 1, your orders are to do a traditional, typical investigation, locate the Dicarius if possible, and return to Starbase 123 with the Dicarius. If you cannot do that, you may, for some reason, you just return to any other nearby Federation starbase and report in. But those are your general orders. If anything comes up in the course of your duties that would change that, then you may make those changes if you need to.
I see.
Any other questions?
And Captain, is what level of discretion needs to be applied here?
Shamar raises an eyebrow and gives a very strange expression to that.
Well, being that the Dinar 1 is on the border between the Federation and Klingon Empire, obviously do not go into the Klingon territory. The Dinar 1 is kind of the frontier, so to speak, like we have our frontier colonies and frontier outposts. That is kind of the frontier outpost for the Klingon Empire. They don't send many people there unless they are people that they want out of their way, like I said before, dishonored or disgraced warriors. So as long as you do not go into the Klingon Empire proper, everything should be fine. Station Dinar is to be investigated with prudence. However, your rules of engagement are basically, as usual, only fire if fired upon, and that goes for all. And she looks between the Starfleet officer of Vosky, the Starfleet officer Shamar, and then the Romulans, and she says, and that goes for no matter what faction you're a part of.
Of course.
Polsky will ask.
And just out of game. Sorry.
No, you first. You first.
out of game, because I know nothing about this. There's a bunch of Romulans on this ship. Does the ship have a cloaking device?
The Dicarius does, yes. However, when they detected their distress call, it appeared that their long-range
No.
sensors...
Our ship, the one we're on right now.
You're on a starbase right now. The Dicarius will be your ship.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Starbase 123 is like the main hub, and then the Silent Odyssey is basically just the ship assigned to that. Kind of like how the Defiant was assigned to Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
You are assigned as the Deputy Security Chief for the Silent Odyssey. However, in game, I'm basically kind of having. Speaking of which, I'll get to that right now. So the captain turns to Shamar and says, because Security Chief Odom is off on another mission, I will require your assistance as their security officer. Do you have any objections to that?
Absolutely not, sir.
You will be temporarily assigned to the Dicarius as its security chief until Odom returns. So essentially, you are going to go with this fine crew, recover the Dicarius, investigate Station Danar, take over the Dicarius as its bridge crew, and return back to Starbase 123. Again, any other questions?
He just says thank you for the opportunity and gives a nice handshake.
No problem. And she kind of stands up and looks around. Now, at this point, if you have the holo, you will notice the holo map still there, and on a computer nearby is a memory alpha. We'll call it a screen that's depicting kind of like how the internet has Google. It's basically got the memory alpha interface where you can kind of find out information. If you want to find out any information about Station Danar 1 or the neural parasites or Romulans or anything at all, this is probably the only time you're going to have to be able to do it without spending momentum.
Bosky will ask the captain, because his question probably won't be answered by Memory Alpha. I appreciate that our intelligence may be very limited, but are we aware of any disgraced figures who were once high profile that the Klingons may have sent there? Heads of houses, captains, generals, and the like.
It's funny you mentioned that, actually. It looks like she kind of picks up a data pad and is kind of leaning against the conference table, tapping on it, and brings up. I'll actually show you. She brings up an image of a man on this screen. She says, Prisoner 430, also known as Batral, was the administrator of Danar 1 prior to being moved on SS Alcatraz. There's obviously a connection, however, he is missing from the Alcatraz, along with most of the other prisoners that were not killed or infested with parasites. He is the only one that we know of for sure that works at Danar 1. And he was the head administrator.
Okay.
He is Angosian, by the way. As far as we know.
Out of character, so he was the staff supervising Danar 1. He wasn't a disgraced person who was once an inmate or anything along those lines.
So he was an Angosian warrior who was basically sent there to kind of be the commanding officer, so to speak, of Danar 1. And then something happened to where he ended up being on the SS Alcatraz as a prisoner. However, as Memory Alpha will tell you, and even the captain who has no idea, that the records of what happened that caused him to be arrested and put on the SS Alcatraz, there is no record of that.
Okay. That's okay. That's not quite okay. All right, that slightly adjusts my theory, because my theory was going to be that let's say there's a disgraced Klingon working in the nearby mines or something along those lines, but who was once high profile. That maybe the neuroparasites and the conspirators would be offering them a path to return to glory. But okay, all right. Nonetheless, that's interesting and useful information. Okay.
I'd like to pull Colonel Lex aside when I have a chance.
Well, I don't know if we want to do this when the captain. In fact, no, we will do it whilst the captain's still in the room. Vosky will turn to Colonel X and circle back to one of the earlier issues, and he'll say, "Satisfy my curiosity, please, Colonel, and my anxiety. The Starfleet head of security who acted inappropriately. Did he do anything more than simply object to the proposed course of action, or did he do anything?"
All right, let me ask for verification. Are you trying to be sneaky and ask, or are you doing this so
No,
that the captain...
he's asking that openly in front of the captain.
Okay, well,
because if he did try to do something, the
as
captain should know.
soon as you start talking about that, she says, "Lieutenant Vosky, I told you that situation would be handled. I need your mind on this situation and this mission. Is that understood?"
Absolutely, Captain. And I don't know what the equivalent of. I'm guessing
A
it would be
salute?
inside security.
Oh yeah,
No.
definitely inside security.
I
Are you
I'm
inside
guessing it'd be
security
inside
her?
security. Yes, but also I'm giving you a chance to insight security Vosky, because Vosky is quite actively doing, yes,
I would-
absolutely, and he's shutting up and going along with it. But in the back of his mind,
I-
he's thinking,
I
"Are
would
you
s-
part of the conspiracy, Captain?"
I will
Yeah, yeah.
go inside
I
security
would
as
say
well.
Shamar, as being a Starfleet officer, and especially because he has a genuine respect, because this is probably his first lieutenant commander position, or at least or chief of security. I mean, he just gives a look across the room, like, "Whoa, something's wrong," to Vosky.
All right,
It's like if the captain never looks, the face goes away, and he's just a normal Starfleet officer.
go ahead and roll insight, security, or command. Difficulty is 2.
I'm not going to use extra momentum since we've got very little, so just the one.
And anyone can roll this, because, I mean, I'm assuming you're all there to hear
Yes.
this conversation, so...
One more time.
Yes.
So insight, security, or command, which I'm assuming for you it'll be security, and then difficulty is 2. So you normally roll 2 dice, and if you want to add more with momentum, you can.
What's the attribute for this?
Insight.
Just the discipline.
Insight.
Oh,
Insight and security, yep.
and then complication range 1, task roll 2.
Yep. So as far as anyone knows, she's just being a commanding officer who is concerned for both her security chief and the well-being and morale of her crew, and just doesn't want Vosky or anyone else kind of getting sidetracked by anything that isn't really related to them.
Okay. Out of character, no, but in character, yes.
Well,
Can you just repeat that one more time?
So,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
so as far as you
What,
guys
the GM?
So as far as you guys know from the captain, she is just concerned about her crew, her security chief, and basically you guys keeping on track with your mission and not getting caught up in rumors or gossip or anything like that. She's just trying to maintain composure of her crew and the mission. Basically
okay.
just doing her job.
Right on.
Now, that complication...
Now, what I know, just because once again I'm very unfamiliar, like in D&D terms, would I know if I rolled low on that? Or...
Well, the difficulty was 2 because I set the difficulty at 2 with her role. So her role was presence and command, and that gave her 2 successes. So the difficulty was 2. So you had to get 2 successes to read anything more than what I told you.
Okay.
As far as the complication that Kamina had, you really want to check the back of her neck.
This is a situation where I can. Is this a
That's what I
situation
thought
where I can
anyways.
use one of my attributes to try again?
What do you mean use one of your attributes to try again?
I remember you said something earlier. There was something about it was either momentum or one of the things that I could to re-roll something.
Okay, so if you want to re-roll, there's a couple ways to do that. One, some talents allow you to re-roll. Your bold talent would if you had given me threat, but you didn't. You could also spend your determination, and since we're talking about that, I'll go ahead and explain values. So let's say, for example, you want to re-roll because you're what she's saying sounds great, and what you believe, you're like, okay, well, I can buy that. But then there's something like nagging at you, and you're not really sure,
Security officer and me.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So you want to make absolutely sure. So you look at your values, always there to lend a hand. That probably wouldn't work out in this situation. Hated by Cardassians, Probably not. There's no
Nothing to prove?
Cardassians. Something to prove could definitely work there. Leave no one behind. Not really. So yeah, if you wanted to say, you know, I'm gonna call upon my value of something to prove, because as a new security chief and as a Cardassian in Starfleet, I have something to prove. Then you can go ahead and click on that one of those determinations, and that indicates that you are gonna spend that, and that will allow you to re-roll your entire dice pool.
I was wondering, what about the talent
Okay,
system?
so how much determination do I have currently?
One. Everyone gets one per episode or session.
Oh, okay.
So this will be your one daily, essentially.
Okay, then I'll hold off then.
Okay.
I did not know that.
And
I was wondering,
go ahead, Karava.
what about talent suspicious by nature? I'm trying to find the thing.
You know what? I changed my mind.
That's fine.
I'm gonna do it.
Go ahead. Go ahead and reroll while I look for that talent, suspicious by nature, which I cannot remember what that does, but I'm pretty sure it's like a reroll or something. Suspicious by nature.
Just one.
Which species has that besides Romulans? Is that a Cardassian trait or a Ferengi? Suspicious by nature? Yeah, it's Cardassian. When attempting to detect hidden enemies, traps, or other forms of danger, the character... I'm going to say no on this one, because this is not a trap, not a danger, and it's not a hidden enemy.
I beg to differ. She is clearly a hidden enemy.
Well, then,
spy!
You know more than the GM knows.
Oh, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
All right, Kamina,
Yes, necessarily.
Kamina, your complication, you really want to check the back of her neck. Do you resist that, or do you try to sidle around to check the back of her neck?
No way. No way.
I
know where this is going. Oh.
I will not do that in that directive a way, although I may incorporate that into the conversation I want to have with Colonel Lex anyway.
Out of the game really quick. As soon as I heard fucking neural parasite, I was like, you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't do this to us.
We are all...
what we're dealing with.
Yeah. But Shamar has... I assume that all of us have a fucking zero knowledge of this, right? Or of this, like, general conspiracy to Starfleet.
You have like the super basic knowledge that it happened, and then earlier the other characters basically found some and were able to scan them, so like they have some knowledge of it. But you yourself,
so we have.
Yeah, no, your character has
somebody
no
has.
idea. Yeah, your character would have no idea.
Cool.
I'm looking at your values, Kamina, because I want to challenge a value if I can. There is no progress without risk. I'm challenging that. So basically, what that means is if a GM challenges your value, which GMs can challenge the value of a player, or the player can do it. If I challenge that value, that gives you another determination which you can use. You can either decide, when I challenge that value, you can either say, you know what, you're right, there is no progress without risk, I'm going to do it, and then you keep that value, you're good. Or you say, you know what, I am going to get rid of that value because it no longer applies, because there is progress with risk, apparently, and I am going to go for it. I'm going to check the back of her neck, and you're going to spend that determination that you just got to basically roll, and you'll automatically have 2 successes. So which do you want to do? Do you want to challenge it, or do you want to not challenge it?
So if I challenge it, I will make a new value, basically, and get an extra determination. If I don't challenge it, I have to use my determination and check the back of her neck.
Hold on, I gotta.
Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, I have to, because it's kind of a new thing. I have to try to. It sounds backwards. So, challenging it means you definitely that there is progress with risk, which means, or no, hold on. There is no progress without risk. So basically, if you risk moving to check the back of her neck, that's not challenging it. So yeah, I think I got it backwards there. So if you're gonna not,
I will not do the thing, and I will challenge my value and create a new value.
That's what I meant. Sorry. So yeah, you will. So basically, delete that. You still have that second determination to use later, but you're not using it now. And then at the end of this episode, just put a new value in there. So that's basically
I,
something.
I won't use the new value I put in, but the one I just put in probably works for what I just did.
Okay, so yeah, that's something that I've seen other GMs do, and when I read the book and when I saw Shield of Tomorrow, they didn't do it, but then I thought about it and I was like, that's a really good idea to have the GM challenge someone else's value, especially because sometimes players don't often know to do that or know how to do that. So, Karava, here I'll trust nothing. Increase the difficulty of any social conflict to deceive the character by 1. Is that something you're doing? Or no? Alright, Karava must be AFK. Anyway, so you're not checking the back of her neck, so as far as anyone here is concerned, she is completely fine.
I was just muted.
Okay.
I had it the wrong way. I was thinking that the wrong way around. I thought it was a bit more difficult for them to trick me.
Can you repeat that one more time? It's hard to hear. I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was a bit more. I thought it was I had it turned around in my head. I thought it was a bit more difficult for them to trick me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So as far as anyone here is concerned, this character's fine. So keep that in mind in the future. Unless something comes up, as far as you know, the captain is cool. All right. So is everyone done with their questions? Because if anyone brings up the security chief again, she's probably gonna get even more upset.
No, we're good. We're good. I walk out.
All right.
I'll wait for the captain to leave and then pull Colonel Lex aside.
Well, this is her conference room. She ain't going anywhere till y'all walk out.
Okay, I'll walk out and pull Colonel Lex aside.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk out.
All right. You guys are out in the corridor where bunches of Federation officers are walking around.
I'll sort of pull into a little bit of, the ever-present alcoves on various Starfleet things.
Yep.
So, Colonel, you know how you gave me that report that you were pretty sure our ship headed into Romulan space?
Yeah, I did a scan and the scan actually said it was in there.
Well, the ship that was until very recently near here headed in that direction as well.
Okay. Weird. I did scan and that's what I picked up is our ship went there. Ship.
Well, I don't know exactly how we could arrange to accidentally go in the complete opposite direction. So we may have to wait to investigate that. But I do think that there's more going on here than someone is telling us. And we should be ready for whatever arises when we get to this station.
I think there is. It's just weird that just basically the captain's ordering us there. It's like, what the heck? And then she wants us to shut up about the chief of security.
I think it's just that Starfleet insurmountable chain of command piece that I've heard about so much. You must be aware of that being in Starfleet yourself.
I don't think
Lex is. I think it's just the picture is just confusing.
Oh, I assumed you were a Starfleet officer. This makes things much easier. Would much like we would be offended if a Starfleet officer tried to interfere in our chain of command, I imagine that's what we're experiencing here. You know how I'd react if some random Starfleet officer just started trying to command my engineers to do things.
Yeah. What was weird is that The chief of security wanted to let him die before even getting any information out of him.
Well, that part I agree is strange. I thought it was
Yeah.
strange as soon as I heard about it. But the captain's reaction seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
You going out?
To break this up really quick, are you guys still back where the captain was? Like, have you guys been held back this whole time?
You know how
well-
on a Starfleet ship there's random alcoves that usually have an
Yeah.
entry to a Jeffries tube? I'm standing in one of those.
How long is this conversation? Is my idea. Like, I imagine if you guys take a certain amount of time, Shamer will come back looking for you. This conversation seems kind of important. Just saying, out of game. So I'll just say maybe it take a little while, and I kind of like approach you guys like, hey, we still going on?
Oh, yes, of course. I was
Yeah.
just pointing the defect in the metal of this Jeffries tube to the colonel here.
Oh, you do fucking totally cold shoulder him. He's like, all right, and walks away.
I don't know about this new security guy.
I
There's
wish-
fucking 5 people here. I was just trying to get information. I'm sorry.
You guys, I wish Omar was back.
You mean
He
Odo?
was very trustworthy. We worked with him for so long.
You worked from you did work with him for a few weeks. So in game it was a few weeks.
Yeah.
And
It-
time
it-
before that, he was assigned to our ship prior to the game starting.
Was he? I thought
Yeah.
everyone started on the same ship roughly at the same time.
Oh, I assumed we'd been on the ship for a while when the episode started, which is why I didn't like the other sub commander to begin
Yeah,
with.
I guess that makes sense. I just assumed it would like max like 3 or 4 weeks you guys would have been serving together, but it could be longer.
Basically, he goes, "We need to break the new guy in."
I nod curtly.
Oh no. Why is this always my doom whenever I play in an RPG instead of DMing? Everyone hates me.
Well, you're Cardassian.
Oh, we don't hate
No.
you. We just don't trust you.
We don't.
Yeah, Romulans
no,
not
I'm
trusting a
fucking around, I'm fucking
Cardassian
around.
is not exactly.
Of course.
You should have seen me dealing with Carava last episode when he wasn't on board
I've just-
with
Yeah.
Romulan conspiracy.
I've played in so many D&D games where like everyone's like, all right, let's just hate this character. I'm like, oh.
I know.
Anyway.
I know that feeling.
Like, hey, I was trying to be your friend, man. Anyway. So, can we proceed?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to
Okay.
talk to Colonel Lex about.
So is everyone good with going on this mission to Dinar 1/Dicarius,
Yes.
or is anybody kind of going to try to go in the opposite direction where Colonel X thought the ship actually went? All right, I guess
think-
that everyone's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I'll follow the captain's orders because we have no reason to suspect otherwise.
All right. So here's kind of a fun part. You get to choose an NPC to go with you. And you can choose it based on who you like. You can choose it based on what you will need on this mission. Or you can, and this is someone that will be with you until they die practically, or until there's a story reason for them to leave. Or you can choose them because like you actually need this person, or your crew will be in jeopardy. It's up to you how you guys decide. So the first one, Ricotta Kithel, is the Romulan junior engineer that you guys met on the Alcatraz. You guys are, I will say, it's up to you in character how you portray it and how you and if you change your mind. But out of game and everything, she is probably one of the more loyal to Romulans and the Federation kind of persons that you have met so far. She was on a Federation prison ship as one of the crew, but she is a loyal Romulan citizen, so she has that going for her. The other person that you can take with you is Healer Nari, which is a medical professional, which you will probably need.
Yes, that's what I was going to recommend.
Then there is Oberakes, which is the Reman, the prisoner who basically kind of sided with Drenal just because she wanted a chance at freedom and to prove herself to the Romulan Republic. She's good at security and helm. You don't have a pilot, but you also don't have medical, so that's kind of up to you. The other person is Omet Iklan, who is a more or less a more or less reformed Jem'Hadar tactician who was also a prisoner aboard the SS Alcatraz. He is kind of his prison sentence has been basically commuted for his assistance on the SS Alcatraz, helping engineer Kethel kind of stay safe and hidden from the intruders. So out of those four, who would you like to keep with you?
Okay, the Jem'Hadar is badass, but we need a medical officer more than anything.
Yeah.
Is
Also,
there anybody free day away from retirement?
No.
Despite the
I'll
fact
just-
that the Jem'Hadar did assist on the ship and on the Alcatraz, he has a criminal record. I'm not quite sure what his crime was, but
Being a
I can't
Jem'Hadar.
really trust that. Yeah. So similarly, we can't really trust the one who is the ex-con who wanted to then prove themselves to the Romulan Empire and back the sub-commander. So I think
as
they're
far
out.
as absolute trust goes, there really isn't someone, well, ever in life, but also just in this group that you can 100% count on, because the healer being Dosai is still going to be loyal to the Dosai. She's still going to be a Dosai warrior. She's still going to be, if you guys are trying to escape and, there's some injured person, she's going to stay back to try to, like, she's going to have her own hang-ups to deal with. Same with, Kethel. You guys are playing Romulans, and, she is a Romulan. She's a Romulan NPC. So if you guys could kind of use your human, real-life human instinct and intuition to kind of make decisions, where she's only going to make decisions based on being a Romulan. So there isn't really anyone here that you're 100% going to be able to trust.
I agree with
I'll
you
say-
completely, but I'd say that those two are the sort of, we can trust them 90%.
Okay,
The rest
yeah, I'll
of
give
them,
you that.
we can trust them less than like 50%.
I get that.
With all due respect, I think that kind of trust is irrelevant here. We need the best officers that we can at each station. We are missing a chief medical officer. I mean, we need.
I agree with you. Like, out of character, I agree with you entirely that, yeah, of the two people, we should only take the ones we trust due to the nature of, due to the nature of the assignment. But of those two, the CMO is going to be way more useful.
Out of
We had
game
a
as
positive
well. Once again, we
relationship.
have no reason, besides the two people, we have no reason to suspect anyone. So I don't really think trust is as important.
We had a positive relationship though with the engineer as well.
Yeah.
She helped
Yes,
us out.
but I
yeah.
would say that we have a wealth of engineering expertise
Oh,
on
yeah.
our team.
You have
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
engineers.
we've got too many engineers.
But
Just
And
like we
once-
have too many
both?
sub-commanders, we have too many engineers.
Can we bring both?
No. No.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
whilst-
No.
Yeah, and
I
whilst
made that. Look, it becomes pointless if you can just take whoever you want. This is kind of one of those things where GMs don't exactly do this. This is kind of like your video game setup, where it's like you know, your decisions will affect what happens in the game in the future. So you could take the healer, the medical professional, and that'd be great, and everything could work out fine. Or, her ex-husband could come along and suddenly she goes off with him and leaves you in a firefight to die. Like, you have no idea. But the point is whatever you decide is going to affect the story going forward.
I think the healer is the best choice, and whilst the engineer is somewhat dependable, we have a wealth of engineering, as was pointed out, and the others, one of them was directly involved in the alien parasite conspiracy, that they didn't know it, they were duped, but still. And the other one,
Is a
whilst
Jem'Hadar.
he behaved well on the ship, has a criminal record and was under arrest. And it's
the other one
do we-
is
Do you say this out loud? If you say this out loud, Jim, I was like, he's a Jem'Hadar! He's born to kill! Of course he has a criminal record!
He's a war criminal.
That's like saying that a Klingon likes violence. I mean, of course.
So
well,
is this-
he carry on.
I was just gonna say, is this unanimous? Everybody is for the medical.
Oh, I'm definitely for it. I just want to say, out of character,
Yeah.
it's pretty convenient that the captain, who doesn't want to investigate her chief of security, is sending away the person that questioned his chief of
That's a
security.
good point.
Her chief of
I
security.
definitely considered that when writing this. Absolutely. All right, so
All
you
right,
get
so
Nari. We'll come
I
up with.
believe we're unanimous. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a in-game story reason for Nari to want to go with you guys in a minute. Now you get to
Oh,
select
yeah.
your ship. So before you go ahead and say the USS Silent Odyssey, they all have pros and cons. I'll start with the Silent Odyssey because, obviously. Pros, decent weapons. Maximum warp 9.95. Can hold her own against a scale 6 or 7 ship, which is about the same size as the ship itself. And it can intimidate smaller ships. ETA, because of its maximum warp, to the Dicarius is about 4 hours. Cons: no cloaking device, not too maneuverable at impulse. So if you guys come up against a smaller ship that's better maneuverable, you guys won't be in a good spot. Easiest ship to be detected by long range scanners. So pretty much you're going to be detected by somebody. This is like a 99% guarantee. The CO
This
will
is
be
the juggernaut suit.
Yep. The CO will be hard pressed to go off book. So the commanding officer of this ship will, like, besides going to the Dicarius, investigating Dinar 1, if anything else happens, like, oh, we have to go into the Klingon, space to do something, he's going to be like, no, we're out of here. Like, he's going to stick to the exact mission, the exact, by the book. Sensors and deflector dishes are decent. However, due to your previous messing around with it, they are going to go down one. Each of those are going to be going down by one in their stats temporarily. So they will come back up to full power, but that will not be until you're well into the mission. So keep that stuff in mind for the big ship. Federation Runabout. Pros: it does have micro torpedoes. It is very maneuverable at impulse. It's got a moderate warp speed of warp 6, and it does have 2 transporter pads. ETA is 12 hours.
That's hilarious. We
Nope.
have to choose between a starship and a fucking runabout.
Oh, you wait. They get smaller. The cons: no cloak and no match for ships scale 3 and 5. However, if you come up against a ship the same size of like a scale 6 starship, it could at least run around, be super maneuverable. So there is that. There is a traditional Starfleet shuttle that you could take. I put Type 12, but I'll probably actually have to look this up to see what type it actually is. The pros: extremely maneuverable at impulse, 1 emergency transporter pad, not easily detected with long-range scanners. Cons: cramped and uncomfortable, no match against ships scale 2 to 4. Maximum warp 1, ETA 3 days. Only 2 phaser banks in the front. I'm guessing you guys are not going to pick that one. Romulan shuttle. Pros: it does have a cloaking device. Not easily detected even without a cloaking device with long range scans. Extremely maneuverable at impulse. It does have 1 forward disruptor. It has minor sensor mass, so even without a cloaking device, if you guys, like, let's say you have to go into Romulan space for whatever reason, you can make everyone else think that you all are all Romulans and on a Romulan mission without any problem. You can, like I said before, you can easily pass for a typical Romulan crew on a legitimate operation in Romulan space. So this won't work well for Klingon space, but pretty much anywhere else you will be good. Cons: maximum warp 4, ETA 8 hours, which is not as bad as warp 1, but still not that great. So let's see, no match against ships scale 3 to 4, and it does not have a transporter, so if you get into any trouble, you will not be beaming out. So does anyone have any opinions of which ship they would like to?
I have many.
You go first.
I don't know. I'm a Federation officer, so I'll just start briefing people. I'll say that the shuttle seems like an optimal choice, but I mean, if we're going into this, we might need to bring some firepower. So I don't know, especially without a transporter too. That could be very ugly. I think in this case, the cloaking device can actually be avoided.
Okay,
and I think we should go for the starship.
All right.
Whilst we're having this in character discussion, are we completely on our own in a room, or without crew people hanging around?
This is one of those things where it's like a mix between in character and out of character. So I'm not you guys are technically having it out of character, but we can always come up with an in character or in game reason for you guys to be talking about it.
The only reason why I mentioned that
I think his question was this is like senior officers, right?
Yeah, like you
Well,
guys.
key point-
Besides on the starship, you won't be the captain. There'll be a captain, but everybody else will. You guys will pretty much be the bridge officers.
Well, exactly, and the key reason why I asked that is because Vosky would not say in character what I'm about to say out of character in front of like Federation officers, etc. Which is, or Romulans even, which is that one of the reasons why he likes the smaller ships, and particularly the Romulan shuttle, is if for whatever reason we need to do something that we're not supposed to, or that might be a bit iffy, we're in complete control. We don't
worry,
have to
in
persuade the
character,
rest
I
of
can
the
say
ship.
something like that. So, given that discretion is a big part of our assignment here, I see great advantages to the Romulan shuttle. In addition, should we need to engage in some subterfuge, we could, should we need to, pose as Imperial loyalists.
That's a good
Yes.
idea too. So you don't really have that option with the other ships.
My biggest fear there is, and once again, this will just be in character. My biggest fear there is if we drop the cloak and try and go down to the planet's surface and like a Klingon bird of prey decloaks, we're kind of fucked.
We just
I know it's very, I know
that.
it's a very low possibility, but we have to keep in mind there's fellow.
And
cloak ships.
I also think there is a level of meta in most of the other players here because they know how I GM and they know I would never do that. So I think they feel a lot safer. Like to me, this is a pure Star Trek game. Like if you have a small shuttle and you come up against like a Deredex Warbird, like they automatically assume that I've given them a non-combat way out.
Yeah, I realize that. But Shamar doesn't know any of this.
Yeah.
So.
He's lulling you
Just
into a false sense of security. So
Shamar is, especially because you guys have been like talking amongst yourselves this entire time. Shamar's just like fucking tell me shit. Like he's just trying to get information.
you'll learn. In character, I'm sure you'll learn soon. But back out
of
of character.
course.
I would summarize my sort of desires for these ships as I'd rather have a submarine than a cruiser.
Okay, so am I correct? Am I correct in this count of 2 for the Romulan shuttle, 1 for the Silent Odyssey? So Edgeford
so far, yes. Or I would
Kamina.
make another point about the advantages and disadvantages of the ships.
There is conveniently also 5 of us. So
yeah, that wasn't mentioned, which is that if something does go awry and that something happens at the starbase, and this is one of the reasons why I in character, Vosky didn't want to go chasing after the ion trail. Imagine it's an escort. It would be the case of the submarine luring the escort away from the convoy, and then it's vulnerable. If the Odyssey stays here, the starbase is much better protected, and I think that's something to keep in mind as well.
That's true.
All right, let's make a decision. Let's just make a decision.
Additionally, should we really want some deniability here, it would be totally reasonable for this to be a civilian operation, given the cultural makeup of our group.
Since it looks like we're going in the shuttle direction here, just for clarification, can we land on a planet's surface with a shuttle while cloaked?
I mean, as far as I know, it depends on a lot of things, like the weather and the available sensor nets that are maybe around it. But I would assume that as long as your ship is in good condition, that there would not be any extraneous power that would be used.
Oh, okay.
Like you'd be able to
So
actually, we've seen it in the Voyage Home where they landed a Klingon bird of prey cloaked.
I would point out.
Then I guess the transporter is the only thing. Like the transporters not being there is kind of negligible. The only thing we would need transport for is to beam onto another ship. So I mean, I think we're good.
I agree with you. I would point out that landing, and indeed any atmospheric flight whilst cloaked, we won't probably be easier to detect casually. But if someone is keeping an eye out or is looking in our specific direction, the ship will be pushing air to the side and that kind of thing.
That's okay. That's why I meant.
This just needs to end. This just needs to end. I rescind my vote and I put it to the shuttle. That's 3 out of 5. Let's
shuttle.
go.
That's why I mentioned the weather. Like obviously, if it's a still cool day, it's fine. But anyway, so Max for the shuttle and Karava. What about you?
I'd say shuttle.
All right.
Because Colonel Lex says it's good to have a good hugging session.
What? Why would
What?
why would Colonel Lex say that?
Because yeah,
I wasn't gonna be the HR officer.
All right.
Unfortunately, it's Colonel Lex.
I'm also a colonel. Let me touch you off. We're hugging.
This is Healer Nari's log. We have left Starbase 123 with orders to locate and investigate RRW Dicarius, and if necessary, Dinar 1, the Angosian outpost that was its likely destination. I have a bad feeling about what we may find. So you have Healer Nari with you. Let's see. So is there anything you guys want to do before you leave Starbase 123?
No, sir.
What was that?
I said no, sir.
Okay.
I do want to encourage everyone to wear civilian clothing.
Mm,
Yeah.
Get some civilian clothing.
I don't know what the standard. Oh, you first, Karava, please.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Correct.
I'll
ahead.
finish writing my recommendation for the Romulan thing, so you could get into Romulan Republic Academy.
Okay. I don't know what the standard crew equipment aboard a Romulan shuttle would be, but I'll absolutely follow the sub commander's suggestion for having civilian equipment, but also I'll make sure that Vosky's got access to, just like put it on the ship, body armor, Type 3 phaser, etc., in case we need to go loud as well as quiet.
Okay.
So, if you guys are saying this out loud, in my honest opinion, I think civilian clothing is irrelevant. I mean, we are a bunch of Romulans, a Cardassian, and a random alien. I mean, we kind of stick out like a sore thumb. We're in Klingon space, so.
And there is one other thing to be pointed out. I don't know what international laws are like, but if they're roughly similar to the current Earth ones, being captured in uniform is a lot better than being captured in civilian clothing.
Yeah, that's very fair.
But yeah.
Can you, like, just as a general lore point of view, like if somebody just saw like a couple of Romulans, like wandering as civilians in Klingon space, would that be like
We might be pirates.
suspicious?
It depends, again, on a lot of things. So, first of all, you're not going into Klingon space. You're going to, like, the right outside the border.
Yeah, that's
So,
fair. That's fair.
let's say, for example, some enterprising Klingon warrior was out looking for someone to kill. Like, worst case scenario. And he happened to go to Dinar 1, and, he's a legitimate military captain, so this isn't something that would... It's not necessarily going to be sanctioned directly by the Empire, but it's not something they would really give a shit about if it happened. So, and then he encountered you and just, then you might have a problem there, but 9 times out of 10...
That tells me what I want to know.
Yeah, 9 times out of
Here's
10, it's not going to be that bad. It's going to be more like, oh, there's a Klingon ship on patrol several light years away. As long as we don't do anything crazy, we won't get its attention, kind of thing.
And here's the backstory should something happen why I think we should be in civilian clothes. I was getting to this, but I, among other things, am an expert in metallurgy, and we're heading to a mining colony. We could be a simple trade vessel.
So,
on a mission to obtain samples.
I will give you some information for a momentum regarding that. This is one of the things y'all could have found out in the conference room earlier.
I'll say Shaymar poses as like a bodyguard, a former Maquis bodyguard.
Cool. So do y'all want to spend the...
Because he is a former Maquis.
Do y'all want to spend the momentum for that information?
Yeah. We have 1 momentum, right?
Yeah.
But I'll also go ahead and tell you, after this session, we're starting at 0 anyway.
Oh, okay.
Oh, then sure. Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
Yeah.
So this outpost, especially in its heyday, but even now, is a pretty big trading and cargo, because they do mine a lot of Kelbonite in the asteroid fields, they do a lot of trading and cargo freight, running freight there. So posing as just regular run-of-the-mill, traders who happen to be Romulan and Cardassian, that would be totally acceptable. The problem would only be if they detected, a cloaked Romulan ship. Then they'd be like, hold on a minute. it. But just posing as traitors would be like 99% of the time, you unless you rolled horribly at deception, you'd be believed on that one.
I'll go for like a kind of like a Rambo look almost. Just like a fucking really nasty looking bodyguard.
Okay, and so the other thing I want to discuss real quick, because Odom is not here, so we kind of need to, because I have no idea if he's coming back. So the rank. Hold on, give me 1 second. Not right now. So the rank. Colonel Karava being the Tal Shiar officer who holds the highest rank. You are technically in charge of your little group. So if keep that in mind, everybody. Followed by Sub Commander Kamina and then Colonel Lex. So if Karava, I think it was Kamina who wanted to go in civilian clothes, but if Karava kind of wants to countermand that, no, we all go as official representatives of Starfleet and the Romulan Republic, then that is what you guys will have to do. So Karava, what is your decision?
I'd say probably civilian clothes, but if everybody wants to do military, I will print a Romulan Republic military uniform. I'm not wearing a Tal Shiar uniform.
Okay. Fair enough. So, is everyone pro civies or? Because everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
pro civies.
Yeah. Volsky has concerns, but he'll absolutely obey.
Do you want to take your military uniforms with you so that if you need to, you can change it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
So for mechanically, until we get to a point where diplomacy or deception is absolutely needed, it's not going to make a whole lot of a difference. No one's going to scan you from 50 light years away and be like, "Oh, he's wearing a comm badge or not." So mechanically, you're good. You will probably be able to tell by how I GM when you will need to be in either civilians or military. If I say, "Oh, you're going down to infiltrate a cloning facility," you'll probably be like, "Oh, we should probably be in civilians." Or, "Oh, you got to go talk to this admiral at the starbase," you'll probably be like, "Okay, we need to be in our Starfleet uniform." So,
Yeah, you mentioned communicators. Before we go, obviously, since we're going in civvy equipment, we'll be taking off our various badges. So can we also manufacture like handheld civilian communicators? We can stay in touch.
Yeah, I would say
thinking.
your Romulan shuttle, being a Romulan shuttle, is not going to have like a replicator. It's going to have like your bare minimum. But before you leave the starbase, you can totally replicate some just regular civilian stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go. Make a decision. Let's go.
Can I replicate a Romulan military uniform in the Starfleet replicator?
I don't see why not. It's just a matter of knowing, codes and stuff.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it, and I'll print it for my equivalent military rank. For the...
All right. So, loud kit, civvy communicators. Huzzah!
Yeah. All right. So you guys get on your Romulan shuttle and you move out. At what point do you guys cloak? Do you cloak immediately, or do you cloak when you get a few light years out away from the starbase?
We could probably save power if we do the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you could just
Plus,
not
we'll
cloak.
look less
It's up to you.
suspicious that way.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're cloaking.
We have a
I'm
cloak
very
ship.
adamant
We're gonna
about
use
that.
it. Damn it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's like, I've never been on a cloaked ship before, so we're fucking using it.
It's gonna be like the Wonder Woman jet, where you just look outside and you can see the air and the space around you. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, two-way cloak. Law.
Oh wow, look at this like oh no. It was like so 4-bit for a second, but now it's not.
Alright, so what are you guys doing in the meantime? It's going to take, due to the ship you took, it's going to take 8 hours to get to the last known location of the Dicarius.
Oh, that's right, the speed! Not only do you guys gotta make us fucking Federation officers, gotta take our speed.
This is going to be perhaps the most boring answer conceivable to that question, but since when we get there, a lot of things might happen very quickly, and it is a convenient 8-hour block, Volsky will suggest we sleep. So we are fresh and maximum, energy and stamina.
You know
for
what?
Whatever we have to deal with.
You know what? I'm going to give you guys 2 momentum for that. That's a good idea.
I'll say Shamar's not comfortable with everyone
Yeah.
sleeping. He'll remain at the helm. and
Okay,
do,
yeah, I figured
shifts.
like a guard shift or maybe someone at the piloting station just to make sure the ship
Yeah.
doesn't fly into a sun or something. Yeah, that's
I'll
fine.
say Shamar would take the last shift, so he'd be awake in the former 4 hours.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys want to discuss or do in the meantime besides sleep?
Colonel X, why don't you spend some of the time getting the non-Romulans familiar with Romulan shuttle operations?
He
That's
explains
a good idea.
everything on the shuttle from the pilot's console up to the engineerings, and he goes, "This is the basic necessity of what we have."
You know what? You know what? Well, let's see how good of a teacher you are. Roll a presence or reason, command or con, either one. Difficulty 3. Now, Starfleet personnel, roll a reason con difficulty difficulty 1. Because I'm gonna say because you guys, I mean, you are a joint Starfleet Romulan group, you would have some knowledge of Romulan technology, so it's not super difficult.
So that's focus CS1 2, right?
Let's see. Do you guys have any focuses in Romulan technology? If you do, then yeah, you can use focuses. But if you don't,
I don't believe I do.
Polsky definitely doesn't.
yeah, I don't think you do.
Alright. No, my con is atrocious as well.
All right. Well, the good news is, Edgeford, you got another momentum, so you guys are up to 3. So yeah, you guys you don't think Colonel Lex is explaining it perfectly well, but you can kind of comprehend what he's trying to say. I mean,
Yeah.
he is an operations officer. He's used to doing things. He's not used to having to explain how to do things. But you get it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not very much different than a Starfleet vessel. It's just greener.
Shamar takes it in
Everything's
and
green.
just show me to my station.
So you guys are at 3.
Everything is just green now.
Yeah, it's just greener, a little
Yeah.
bit more edgier.
It's just Starfleet, but with a green tint. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's the sci-fi version of the Dark Elves. It's fine.
yeah. That's a good one.
So I need whoever's since you said Shamar is the last one to be sleeping. I'm gonna need him to make.
Yeah, so I want to be awake. Yeah,
Go
I want to
ahead
be
and
awake when we're getting there.
roll a reason and science. Your scanners are reaching out, trying to detect this warbird. So the difficulty is gonna be 3. And yeah, you didn't. So the sensors start flashing red, bleeping at you, and giving you like a general direction of where a starship is. It's basically in front of you, but you can't tell how far away it is or exactly what distance is. But this light is blinking red.
Yeah. Fucking tap communicator, Shamar to crew. Everyone get up here.
All right, you guys
Polsky
get up
will
there.
flop out of his bunk and yeah.
When you get up there, Vosky, as a science officer, you see the sensors are going crazy, basically detecting something. Go ahead and make that same roll. Difficulty 3, reason and science.
Fantastic. Since I have previously detected a cloak ship, I will invoke testing a theory and theory
That
into
works.
practice, which will take it down to difficulty 2, and
Nice.
I'll also get a die.
Oh, and
So
let
here
me
we go.
let me actually roll for the
Happy.
ship for both of you guys. Oh, so this you
Oof.
got it. Oh wow, God. So the bat.
Forge!
Go ahead.
No,
Basically,
no, you
Colonel
first.
Lex is behind him. Would be behind.
Okay, go ahead and assist him then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so alas, we don't quite hit the difficulty. We do also have a complication, and sadly, I didn't use momentum, I used a talent, which means I can't use cautious, so I'll have to consume 2 momentum to get rid of that complication, because
I
complication
think that's
plus
a good
stealth ship
idea.
equals bad time.
Hey,
Oh.
I actually helped y'all.
Yep.
Oh, you
got
did!
2.
I'm sorry.
And
Sorry,
I when I rolled for the shuttle, I actually rolled for the shuttle twice because I forgot to roll for Andrew's, but his didn't succeed. But yours did succeed, so you actually have 3 successes. So you are back up to 3 momentum.
Huzzah! So 3
Well,
momentum,
this is
but then...
this is so much jargon. What's going on?
Basically, a bunch of assists happened, and I had to roll
Okay,
for the
okay.
shuttle off screen because I forgot I actually have the character sheet. But it's all good. Everyone assisted. Everyone did fine. They spent. You can. So if you that red 0 is basically a 20. So basically, that was a complication or a critical failure. So they spent 2 momentum, which I forgot. So you spent 2 momentum. That puts you down to 1. And then I got you. So you're actually at 2 momentum because you had to spend 2 to get rid of that. But yeah, they spent 2 to get rid of a complication. And then so yeah, you're at 2 momentum now. Long range scans detect the ion trail of a warbird that's the same prototype class as the Dicarius at warp 1, heading towards Dinar 1. It is probably about an hour away from the station.
And this was what type of ship again?
It is the same class as your or their Dicarius ship. It's not the transponder is not telling you it's the same ship, the Dicarius, but it is the same class of basically a reconnaissance / explorer cruiser warbird, which is what you got.
Belonging to which faction?
The Romulans.
Yeah, okay.
Oski will turn to
Okay.
Sub Commander Kamina and just say with a sort of note of interest, because it's the right class of ship in the right place at the right time. It's almost certainly the ship we're after. Famous last words. But he'll say to Kamina, "I'm unfamiliar with the protocols for hails or communiques between 2 cloaked vessels. What is the appropriate procedure here?"
Well,
Oh, this ship is
I
not
would
cloaked
say-
anymore.
I would defer
Oh.
to.
Yeah, it's not cloak. That's a very important distinction.
Yeah, so sorry, that's
It's
my
not
bad
cloaked.
earlier when you mentioned it being cloaked. It kind of just went over my head. So you could tell it was
And, like-
cloaked, but then for some reason it came out of cloak probably a few minutes before you detected it.
As the security officer in me is screaming, "Is warp 1 strange?" Like that just warp 1 and no
Yeah.
cloak. Like this seems very very peculiar.
Do you want to
And
Um,
spend
also,
momentum?
may I mention before we open up hailing frequencies, we are civilians, guys. We gotta, Commander, you gotta
Get
get
back
up
in your
there.
uniform.
Yeah,
Everyone get dressed. No,
Commander.
everybody else go in the back.
don't forget you can spend momentum. Oh, and speaking of which, Fosky, you have a free question because you're a science officer.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's very good because the warp 1 bit, which is the why would a ship be going at warp 1? The thing that occurs to me
Because they
is
want you to
harder
catch
to
up to
detect it. Ah, right. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I will
we-
give you that for your free question. It came out of cloak right before you detected it. In fact, some would say because they wanted you to detect it, and then it slowed to warp 1, and they want you to find it. Now, as
Right.
for why, who knows?
Okay.
Can we? He goes. Can we actually scan it for life science?
At this
What's
distance,
on
no.
that ship?
You literally see a silhouette. You can't get. You have to get a lot closer. If it was
Oh, it's
stopped,
within range.
well, it's
Okay.
long range sensors, but
Yeah, yeah.
that means it's like a sector away. So basically, you still have like an hour before you actually get to within medium range, so you can actually do some proper scans on it. Of course, it's at warp 1, so you could with your what warp. I gotta look at it again. You guys have warp 4, so you can catch up to it probably in about 20 minutes.
I'd say let's move to pursue, Commander. Get up there and let's open up some hailing frequencies, see what's going on. And this is a very long
Yeah.
shot. Do we have the Defiant fucking like hollow thing where you can
No.
appear as someone else?
You don't even. Well, you have the what's it called, the sensor net, the sensor mask. So like the view screen, and when they scan you, they will detect all Romulans if you want. Like it's a switch, you just turn it on and off. They'll be able to detect all Romulans if you want them to, and they'll be able to see all But as far as like an actual hologram, no, you don't have that kind of technology.
Okay, cool. Long shot,
Well,
but
if
I
we're a
want
civilian ship, then my recommendation to Colonel Carava would be that we stay as civilians, remain cloaked because of the precarious nature of safety in this region, of course. That's why we would be cloaked. And try not to stir up any curiosity that's unnecessary.
Speaking of curiosity, wouldn't it be my mic cut out? Wouldn't it be a little peculiar that we're cloaked civilian transport?
Well, I'm a highly specialized scientist.
All of a sudden, an alert.
I thought I heard something.
An alert klaxon begins to sound, and sorry, I can't do that for too long, or I go crazy. But
all good. I loved it.
The sensors suddenly detect that the warbird has stopped, and power has basically been reduced drastically. So you don't have a whole lot of time before you guys have to decide what you want to do.
I say that I say we slightly alter course, but still go to it and stay cloaked. My leading theory is that they're purposely decloaked to still allow us to find it, but they're trying to be quiet, running and be unnoticed, and so something spooked them.
Can we say over this? Can we say over this 4-hour period? I assume we had some time to chat each other up during this journey. Can we say that you guys have briefed me on this neuroparasite situation?
Yeah, so let me actually just give you a quick recap of the first mission or two. The Dicarius was just on routine patrol and was ordered to basically make a slight detour to investigate the SS Alcatraz, which was a civilian prison ship that basically just kind of went missing, and they ended up finding it and basically found that it had been, there was a some kind of subspace interference was surrounding it and causing it to lose complete power, kind of like what's happening now. And basically, it couldn't go to work, it couldn't do anything. And also, they found that somebody had boarded it, killed a bunch of people, and kidnapped most of the prisoners. And that's kind of where the neuroparasite thing came in. They found a couple prisoners that had neuroparasites. Their sub-commander.
That's good enough. That's
okay.
All right. It's all good.
And then I would have briefed him on the Romulan Imperial Resurgence conspiracy thing.
Right.
Okay, that I am completely unfamiliar. So
Romulus is now a republic. That's why there's more cooperation. And we have identified, maybe positively, maybe in our imagination, a plot of a group of people, including the sub-commander that was in the sickbay, to revive the Romulan Empire.
And it appears that the parasites and these conspiracy theorists are working together. Maybe.
Okay, returning back to the conversation, I would say, I would bring this up once again, and I would say, they're Warp 1, they're decloaked. I'm thinking they're in distress, and if some sort of neural parasite situation is going on, there could be fighting on board.
By the way,
there could be a mutiny.
I'm taking threat for every minute you guys take to make a decision. I'm taking threat.
Go. Let's go.
Yep.
We're going to go there and get on.
Okay.
Get on board.
Control.
Passive scans only.
How? We have no shuttle. We have no transporter.
Control con to fly. Are you remaining cloaked?
Yes.
All right. Control and con.
I'll just
Who's
take
your con officer?
I'll take tactical.
Okay. Someone needs to fly. Control con.
I can do it, but it's my second best thing.
That's probably better than most
Do it.
people.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll roll for the
Wait.
I have a
just
3 and a 12 in control, so...
Hold on. I just said con because
control?
it made sense in Star Trek terms.
Are you-
Where would I be best? I have no idea where my specialties lie. I have a huge security boost.
Plus, I gotta focus on shuttlecraft.
Okay,
Command
then
and
you
security.
pilot then.
Okay.
Operations.
My con is
Yeah.
awful,
Okay.
though. My con is awful. My con is 2.
Yeah, don't put him in the pilot seat unless it's on autopilot.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
It
If it is a
I
choice
would-
between him and Bosky, put him in.
Choose Lieutenant Commander because I thought Command would be good, but it's a Romulan ship.
So you guys are at you have 3 momentum now. You basically go to warp, or you're already at warp, but you increase the warp 4. You get there, 20 minutes out. You're still cloaked. Your sensors. You said passive sensors only, right?
Yes, I don't want to give away our location.
Okay, so when you arrive, your passive sensors tell you that this it is number 1. It is the Dakarius, and it is adrift, and all weapons and shields are down. And as far as you can tell, the ship is offline in some sort of standby mode. You do not detect any physical
Said it was
damage.
adrift, right?
Yep. You do not detect any physical damage, similar to the SS Alcatraz when you first discovered it.
Okay, well, this is becoming a recurring pattern.
Yeah.
We're
Can we
currently in
skip?
Klingon space.
What'd you say?
Are we deep within Klingon? Are we deep within Klingon space?
No, you're still. Let me move you guys to the map to show you where you guys are at.
I think this is a situation where we want our uniforms on.
So
Because if there's anyone on
Yeah.
distress on this vehicle, we could probably recruit them or take them with us.
Yeah, and they know who we are.
Yeah.
basically,
And let's also make sure to check literally everyone for the you know what.
you guys, if you look at the map where the R is, that's where you guys are. You're probably like 2 or 3 light years away from Dinar 1, so probably still about an hour out. What do you guys? I know someone mentioned life signs, right?
Yeah, I mentioned
life
last
signs.
time. Can somebody
Alright, so
can somebody
that's
scan the whole ship?
so okay. So
Life
that
sign?
once you do that, if there's anybody out there looking for you, they'll know that you're there. They won't know where you are because you'll be cloaked, but they'll know someone's scanning.
And
Is-
somebody.
Is
Yeah.
this what you
Because
guys
this
want?
is too
Just
sus.
want to make sure that everyone, before we go any
Yeah.
further, that everyone's on board with scanning for life signs and other things.
Yes, yes.
But
Is
Bosky
everyone
thinks that's
on
a-
board?
Bosky think
Okay,
that's a
wouldn't
bad
mention it
idea. But-
I also
the
think
ship-
it's a bad idea.
Okay, so it
Wait,
sounds
what's-
like we have
Why?
some people that think it's a
Why?
bad idea.
They will know we are here if we scan any. with
They're
anything with
adrift!
passive sensors.
What are they gonna do? They're adrift.
Not them. Whoever made them adrift.
I have a feeling that whoever made no one attacked them during the time that they were traveling normally and that they were here. No one has attacked. Like it has to be
Starfleet
someone on the ship.
personnel Are way too trusting.
As you guys are talking, you hear static on your comms, and you hear a female voice say, very, very staticky, "Is anyone there? Is anyone out there?"
I look at everyone with this look of like, see, these guys are in distress. We need to help them.
I'm gonna
you,
say
you would
Why
know
is it-
from the
Logan-
briefing of the Alcatraz that the possibility of a mutiny or some kind of civil strife in sight is high at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I imagine they're adrift. The majority of the crew is probably infected with this virus thing, but like whoever is still remaining, we can probably find allies on this ship.
This is Centurion
gonna-
Drusilla.
Yeah.
Is anybody there?
I'm gonna suggest that we close.
Yeah, I will just hit it. I hate where this conversation's going. Shamar here. What can we do for you?
So you hit the button, and as you're looking at the console, you see that a message is coming through. It looks like they sent out a live hail to try to like locate you, but then they sent like a recorded message because they knew for whatever reason they wouldn't have the time to talk to you live. So this is what you hear. This is Centurion Drusilla, medical officer on the Dakarius. And you can hear her tone kind of become more hushed. "I don't have much time, so I'm sending this message instead of a live hail. I have discovered evidence of a conspiracy within the Romulan Republic. Sub-Commander Drenal is a traitor to his duty and to the people, if he is Romulan at all. Our commanding officer, Kulira, is missing. Most of my crew is dead or host to these Virul, these damn parasites. I am not sure who I can trust. I have sent a text attachment with coordinates and data regarding the dreadnought that immobilized and depowered both this vessel and the SS Alcatraz," and that's where it stops.
We need to find her now.
She's aboard, but the dreadnought's nearby. Since you didn't broadcast anything, did you, or did you? Because I think you
He just received the
here.
hail.
Just-
He just
I
received
just
the
said my
message.
name, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just like,
Okay. So you
We
broadcast.
saved.
So if the dreadnought is still about, we have to assume they picked up on the broadcast as well. So we're going to need to
Yeah.
reposition.
oh.
reposition and then board from a slightly different direction, but we can't be sitting in the same place, or the dreadnought will just
Exactly.
go if it's still here.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm gonna say
So
daring
our
con.
options here, I think, is to wait like 5 or 10 minutes and then board, just to avoid suspicion, or board now. I think that the pros to boarding now is that we might be losing more and more people, like even just a couple of minutes, and we already have lost 4 hours with this vessel. We need to go.
I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna call on my talent. You have a plan and consistently with it, which are set in motion whenever something goes away. Whenever you or an ally fail a task, you may add 1 point to the group pool.
All right. So you're at 4 momentum now, but you probably should do something about that fail and that complication. You haven't used any values or determination yet, have you? Or have you? I don't know. I don't remember.
No, can I use a my value? Life is a lesson.
Sure. And you want to re-roll, I guess?
Yep.
All right. Let me go ahead and roll for the ship to assist. There was no point in rolling for it before because you can't assist to it, to fail. So. Ooh. Well, the good news is you succeeded, and you have 2 momentum, so you're up to 6 momentum. I'm guessing you want to spend 2 momentum to get rid of that complication.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't want to injure everyone on the ship.
Run into the warbird. All right, yeah. So you make a move out to another location. We'll just say, I mean, on the screen it really doesn't matter because it's all theater of the mind. But yeah, you've moved. So now what? What's the plan now?
How do we can we, is this like fucking Vidian situation where we can like dock on top of them?
I mean, you can do whatever. It's fine. Oh, but let me.
Sounded really sexual.
No,
Sorry.
let me tell you this real quick. So, the message that you guys got, you can tell it is encrypted and it is on a low band subspace message. So even his response to that, more than likely, 99% chance that it was not detected.
Okay, that's good.
Basically,
yeah, okay.
he's gonna.
And what about my question? Like, how do we actually dock?
That'll just be another roll. We'll just
Okay.
it will, first of all, it will depend on another flight roll. It'll depend on a couple other things, but we'll get to that once you guys make that.
I have a question of maybe something we could do to see if we could do it. Using this encrypted connection with the ship that we have, could I try to access the ship's systems with one of our sort of command level access to it, because I am the chief engineer of this ship, or was.
Yep.
To maybe use its transporters to get us on board?
Yes. So there's a couple of things before we get to that, because we stopped to move the ship and do some other things, so some other stuff got out of order. So before you go any further, I want to let you guys know that the sensors is not detecting the same subspace interference that it was detecting with the SS Alcatraz. The symptoms appear to be the same, depowered, adrift in space. However, the fact that your scanners and communications is able to get, to reach the Romulan warbird is proof enough that the same weapon that was used on the SS Alcatraz was not used on this ship. The other thing that you might want to remember is that the coordinates for the coordinates and the data regarding the dreadnought has been sent to you in a data file that you have yet to open. So, because I had to say all that, can you repeat your question?
My question was whether I could use the carrier that message was sent to us by, and access the Decarius's systems to beam people from our shuttle on board there to maybe like an auxiliary engineering station or something where we could scan the ship from inside.
So
That would likely not be in use.
well, to do.
Mm.
I mean, it's still kind of confusing, but as far as so you're basically, you just want to beam people over without being detected. Is that what you're trying
And to somewhere in the ship that I think probably wouldn't be
Okay.
inhabited, where we
Yeah,
could scan
that
the
part's
ship from
easy.
inside.
That part's, you guys could. I mean, well, it's easy if you had a transporter. You don't. So you would have to get on the ship to do that first. So I mean, it seems like an overcomplicated way to just dock with the ship and then go investigate. To be honest with you, I don't. But yeah, you
Colonel
still.
Lex will speak up and says,
No, go ahead.
Colonel Lex will say, "Why don't we just dock?"
And you also have that file attachment
I
that you had
fully
to open.
agree.
Well,
And let's open
You don't
the
have
file
to.
attachment.
You don't have to open it. I'm not saying you have to open it. I mean, you could open it and explode your ship, but I'm just saying that it's still there.
Open the file.
Fucking self-destructive.
All right, so that's going to be Control or Reason Engineering, difficulty 1.
Engineer, you can do that.
yeah, I can open this file. I have no focus that applies here, though. But it's just a difficulty 1. What could go wrong?
All right,
Nothing.
Famous last words.
you're up to 5 momentum. You open the file to find records from a Tal Shiar agent stating that the crew of 3,000 of a prototype Romulan dreadnought, scale 8, which is about 1.5 the size of a D'Deridex class warbird, are working alongside neural parasites, and that dreadnought is fitted with a subspace weapon that can disable any warp vessel regardless of its shields. And this is not like something that someone is telling you. This is like a record and a file that you actually can see is time-stamped from like a Tal Shiar archive. Like there's pretty much no question that it's legit.
So,
Can we
The ship
Can we
that we're
send that off
being afraid of
to,
is also.
another? Can we send it off to? Can we send that to a Dacia, or Romulan space so that they can know about that?
I mean, even if you encrypt it and send it on a low band subspace, carrier wave to Romulan space, well, number one, it would take a while to get there, but number two, any Tal Shiar or Starfleet intelligence agent worth their salt would be able to detect it and probably intercept it. So you might want to hold on to that until you get closer to Romulan space. But that's completely up to you. You're the commanding officer. If you want to risk it, that's up to you.
I might say this could be very important information for our ships.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to make a Control or Reason Engineering difficulty 3 roll, that will determine its level of encryption and the chances of it being discovered. If you get complete success and no complication, you're good. Does anyone want to? Yep.
Do you want me to encrypt this message for you, sir?
Yeah, I will allow security as well. If anyone I mean, all of you could assist for all I care, as long as you get 3 successes. The ship cannot assist.
High engineering.
So and this would not have a chance of being picked up by the other ships, correct?
If you succeed, it will not be picked up by the other ships.
If we succeed, okay, that's a big if.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is even worth it, guys. This is like
Yeah.
it's good information, but is it like information that like is life threatening? Not really. I mean,
Also,
we're gonna go back eventually.
Potentially.
The Tal Shiar probably already know the ship exists.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
a
So
report.
yeah, I don't think we need to broadcast anything here.
Okay.
The
I
only
believe we should report it, but I don't think it needs to be now.
the only place where we could actually literally report it is to the starbase that we're at.
Yeah, I think we should just
Yeah.
be quiet, get aboard the ship, continue.
Looks like our somebody just.
Oh.
He'll probably be back.
Volsky. Oh, okay. Volsky will ask if we plan on going, expecting a fight boarding, and it's very much implied that he's expecting a fight and would suggest everyone be prepared for it. But it's a question of, is this body armors and Type 3 phaser time, or do you want to be a little more
Yeah,
low key?
that's
Well-
a fair point.
So there's ways of
think it is.
determining what you need to do, or there's ways of determining what you need, and it's called a scan, which you haven't done yet.
Scan for life signs.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's do that.
Okay,
Stop
if
letting me
ordered to,
do that.
Vosky will do it, but he'll still advise against it because not so much the detection, although yes, but
Well,
also
Karava, do
I
you
think
order
life
Bosky
sign-
to scan?
yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think that going
Order.
in blind anyway is like.
Like I can't
Okay,
tell
alright.
you every like I can't like being
What's-
being a Star Trek game I can't tell you
Fine.
oh there's a cloaked enemy ship nearby, but as a GM I'm telling you you're gonna be fine
Yeah.
most likely.
Let's just
What's the
go,
difficulty?
guys. The GM's
What's
just
the
telling us to go. Let's
Yep.
go.
Okay, what's the difficulty?
So it's gonna be reason science difficulty is gonna be 2, but it's gonna be kind of a scaled difficulty. So if you get more than 2, then you'll probably get more information.
Okay, and since this is a scan, would you say testing a theory applies, or is it too different a scan for that to apply?
You're getting more information. This is way different. You're not looking for a cloaked
Okay.
ship. You're looking for life signs. You're looking for engine failure.
Fine.
You're looking for a lot of things.
And I shall not use any momentum because we don't have much.
I mean, you have 5.
Just the one.
All right, I'll roll for the ship. Hopefully, it gets a crit. Does anyone want to assist?
I would like. Can I assist?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyone can assist as long as they
Yeah.
have a decent science and reason score. Let's see. So you have. All right, you got your 3. All right, so you detect on a ship that normally has 1,500 people, you detect 62 life signs. 50.
That happened fast.
50 of them are Romulan, 8 are human, 1 is a Vulcan, and 3 are Reman.
Jesus.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
that's probably good that not many are Reman, because they blindly follow orders of commanders.
And
Also, there's a high chance that quite a lot of those
I
survivors
realize
are
I may have just really
parasites.
offended Colonel Lex.
All right.
look,
Also,
yeah.
uniforms? No uniforms.
Uniforms.
I think uniforms.
Any.
Yeah.
uniform, body armor, gun. Yeah.
What
so-
about me? What about Starfleet?
It's a joint vessel.
Okay. Okay.
So is there anything else that you want
Yeah.
to determine from that scan? Or is that it?
What's their distribution across the ship?
It's a good question.
Fucking
So-
brilliant question.
One Romulan is in a crew quarters. The others are kind of dispersed, milling about. It looks like they're just doing normal operations. There's only one that is really kind of not moving, and that's the one in the crew quarters. Even the ones on the bridge are moving around from console to console, probably trying to repair the ship.
Okay. Two questions. Do we see a human alone? And also, what in that report that was in that hailing frequency, where did she say she was on the ship? Or did she not say?
Well, I don't remember if she said, but I'll go ahead and tell you for free. She said she was in her quarters.
Okay.
And she wasn't human.
that
she
is the
was
one
a
person that's not
Romulan.
moving.
Yep. the
Oh, she was Romulan.
Yep.
Well, she
Sin-
was a
okay.
Centurion,
Sin-
so I assume she was
Yep.
either Romulan or Reman.
Right. Thank you for reminding me.
um,
All right. Well, I mean, let's
Okay.
just dock. Let's just go.
So is the shuttle so the shuttle bay doors open?
Not this time.
Nope.
You're gonna have to dock on the
Oh.
outside. That's gonna be
Well,
control or daring con, difficulty 3. Don't scrape the paint. And you know what? Since I haven't done it yet this episode, I'm increasing the complication range to 5, and I'm spending the threat.
Ooh.
So if you do get a
And
complication, not gonna
I'm
be good.
spending 3 momentum for 3 dice.
All right, so you're down to 2 momentum. Good job, because you want to keep 2 to get rid of the inevitable complication. Anyone assisting?
Yes.
Not me.
There it is. I'm
And
guessing
I'm
you're
spending the 2
Yep.
momentum. Yes.
no
Get rid of
complications.
it.
2, 3, 4, 5. So that brings you up to 2 momentum. So the momentum you lost, you gain back. Was anyone going to assist or no? I still have to roll for the ship.
Now I'd just be baiting complications now.
Yeah, I was gonna say with a complication range of 5, but I kind of do have to roll for the ship because it's kind of hard for the ship not to fly itself. Ooh, so you got up to 4 momentum. I shouldn't have rolled. Anyway, so you make it to the ship. You dock. Everything seems fine. The ship is still not moving. You're docked with the ship. What do you just open the airlock and go through? What do you do?
If someone can get me to a command station, I'd like to lock out ship systems.
Sorry. I was AFK for once. I was AFK for a second. Can you describe what just happened?
They just docked, and
open-
you guys are exiting the airlock into the Romulan warbird.
Okay, well, I'll draw a
We need to
phaser and
open the-
I'll take point.
And Mac, what were you saying?
He says, we're just gonna be opening this airlock first before we go and look for a command console.
All right.
I meant after we get inside the ship,
Yeah,
obviously.
I'm not gonna. I mean, I can make. You know what? I am actually gonna make you roll for that. That's gonna be control
Do we-
engineering, difficulty 1.
Do we perhaps have those awesome fucking the, like flashlight on your arm things?
Sure.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. You
Well
open it.
remembered.
I
and-
don't know how else to describe it.
You open it. You walk in. Now I need to know: are you going in stealth, or I'm supposed to be here? Don't mind me.
I will take point, but stealthily, I believe,
All right.
is the place to go.
Okay.
Everyone.
Okay. I'm supposed to be here. I just walk.
And
I'm the chief engineer.
Well,
but also
hold on.
just kind of like
Karava, what's your plan of attack? Do you go in sneaky, stealthy,
yeah.
or do you want everyone to just act like they're supposed to be there?
Did they know that we left in the first place?
Yeah, well, they knew you went on the Alcatraz, then they knew that they had to leave to go investigate, whatever was going on. So you showing up might be weird, or it might not be weird. It kind of just depends on how the situation unfolds.
I would say to
lucky
Krava
for-
directly, like I believe stealthy is the way to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna say stealthy. I mean, aren't we wearing body armor?
I mean,
I mean,
sure.
Maybe
We need to
straight.
take-
We're wearing body armor and carrying rifles, and we're just like, oh hey guys, we're just.
We
Alright.
need to take nobody at their word too. I don't even think we should trust the Romulan that was transporting to us. Like she could be one of them by now.
Oh yeah.
Everyone
we-
needs to be very surgical at checking every single person and like trusting nobody. If
Yeah,
we get
don't worry,
trapped
we-
with one person,
already
we can
paranoid.
all get fucked. Yeah.
My next thing.
Okay,
I
so
have-
well,
I have a
shame on
whole-
Jonathan, so
I have a
he's
whole
just
plan if you can
reinforcing.
get me to an
Yeah.
engineering station.
He's reinforcing that paranoia.
So my next thing was going to be an insight security check. So that's going to be
Hey, that's me. I
difficult.
have really good security.
But I want everyone to roll,
Yeah.
and not just the security. Difficulty is going
Sorry.
to be 2.
It was what in security again?
Insight and security. This is basically your perception check.
Hey.
That's the first one.
Like we all got 2s. Top.
Ooh. All right, so let's start.
I'm as oblivious as always.
Don't
Yeah,
worry, I'm oblivious.
and
We're oblivious together.
Andrew, you said you were in the
Oh,
front, right?
Yeah.
So as you're kind of
The-
looking around the corner of the corridor near the airlock, you see 2 Remans with rifles walking in your direction, but they haven't seen you yet.
I will back everyone up against the wall. And can we hear them talking?
Nope. They're
That's my
just
first question.
walking.
We cannot hear them talking.
Nope.
Can you describe like this is a very strange question. Does their demeanor look normal?
Remanish.
Like do they look
Roll
Yeah.
a insight, science, or medicine.
inside science or medicine? Rough.
Do you guys
But we'll
want
give
to
it a
get rid
shot.
of that complication the guy has?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
say,
we've-
the middle.
Also, a very important question: have we taken the doctor with us?
Yeah, she's with you. I just haven't said anything
Okay.
with her because I forgot about her.
Yeah.
But
I was
she's
just
there.
curious. Cool. So I rolled a 1.
All right. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I just got to write down how much thread I have. All right. So the Remans and their guards, so they kind of walk rigidly normally. So as far as you can
Okay.
tell, they look normal. But
Yep.
you
It was
mean
a shot in the dark. But
yeah.
I will turn to Karava and what are your orders?
Uh,
I'll,
they've not noticed this yet. Wait, do they look like they've been infected?
That's what he
Can't
just
tell.
rolled for, and he can't really tell. I mean, as far as he knows, they look fine, but there really is only one way to know for sure.
you would also just be
maybe
going
just-
off of my information. I'm the only one that saw them.
Maybe just just try and go into hiding, I guess. If they see
Yeah,
us,
that's what I already recommended. So we'll just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Everyone,
specify though, are we waiting? Are we waiting in a place where they will eventually intercept us, or are we waiting in a place where they would pass us?
well, that depends on the next roll,
Brain
which is
paste.
going to be a control security, which is basically you're going to be your kind of like your hiding and your stealth. So that's going to be a difficulty 1 opposed by their roll. So as long as you get a difficulty 1, that'll be fine.
What was the roll again?
Control and security. Let's see.
Security. I have pretty good rolls on that. Hey, 3. And remind me, it's lower numbers that are better or higher
Yep.
numbers?
Lower numbers are
Lower.
better.
Lower numbers. Okay. So it's good to get roll zeros.
Oh yeah. So the way it works is
Okay,
you take your
interesting.
control score and your security score, add them together, and you try and roll below that number. If you do, you succeed.
And
If you roll either a 1 and have an applicable focus, or outright below your secondary stat, your discipline stat, you get 2 successes rather than 1.
But what you're seeing
Pretty
in the
much.
chat is actually your number of successes.
Basically, in D&D terms, the lower the better.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah.
So control. Sorry, I'm just looking at it. So everyone got really, really good for some unknown reason. And they, even though you can tell, like you guys are like, it's an airlock, so it's got a lot of those, walls and corners and things jutting out and alcoves. So you guys easily able to just get up against a wall. You see them walk by. You even see them look in your direction and then just keep walking. That they didn't even see you. And as far as you guys can tell, they're just completely oblivious to you.
And I will whisper everything here, and I will say I think it might be wise to intercept them. I want to know if they're maybe even just following one at a distance and see if we can get a clear shot of the neck. I think this is a good opportunity. We outnumber them 2-1.
Vosky, knowing that talking is probably a bad idea, so he won't go into a debate even in a whisper. He'll just shake his head to indicate that he doesn't agree, but he will not talk.
Let's lock down the ship
And
first.
I will look at that expression, kind of nod, and then I will turn to Karava. What are your orders?
Mhm.
I won't say that, but that's when my eyes are screaming at you.
We'll just let them pass for now, I guess. Maybe if their backs are turned to us, we see if they got any marks on their necks. But if not,
Someone roll insight medicine again. Whoever wants to look. I will also have the healer roll insight medicine. If I can find her character.
I would also like to. I don't know. I would use some sort of hand signal to communicate this, but I would also like to accompany that person just in case things go bad.
are we planning to retake
what's
the ship, or are we just rescuing the one person?
Well, we'll deal with that in a moment, although eventually probably, yeah. But what was the difficulty of that insight medicine roll?
Well, since they're walking away, I'm gonna say difficulty 2, and the medical officer does not
Difficulty.
get it.
I will use a point of momentum, because how much have we got?
2.
2. We've got 2. No, I'll leave it for complication. I won't use a point of momentum. Instead, I will just roll neat.
All right.
So medicine. Opa! Huzzah!
All right. So Vosky, let's see. You get a momentum, but you do not detect anything on the backs of their necks.
So yeah, Vosky will tap
But-
the back of his neck and then shake his head to indicate to everybody that there's nothing there.
Okay, Shamar will give him a smile and a nod, and he will point backwards. Like, let's get out of here. Let's report to the others at least.
Mhm.
So I imagine we do so.
So-
and once we get back, they actually did not have marks on their neck, but that also could be. I don't know how to feel because we had said before, like, these guys are diehard to their commanding officer. So I don't know if they would like just shoot us or what would happen, but I think it might be
smart to try and like passive conversation.
Somebody earlier mentioned they wanted to go to a control panel. Who was that? What did you want to do at a control panel?
I wanted to try to lock out ship systems, but
Okay.
in response to new security guy whose name I can't remember, the character name, I mean, I want to say yes, they're probably under orders to detain or shoot people that they see, much like the ones under the command of Subcommander Drenal were when he was under the control of the mind-controlling parasites.
Sorry. Do you mention the fact that you go to like a control panel, or have you not done that yet?
Oh, I'm standing in the airlock, and I don't think there's a control panel there.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say it's right outside in the corridor.
I would say going to a control panel might actually tip them to our presence. We have been so far unnoticed. It might be, I don't know, just a thought.
We need to go to a panel anyway.
Here's my plan of what I think we could do. I'm open to other suggestions, but if we lock out ship systems, they won't have control. And then I was hoping to isolate all sections of the system of the ship with force fields.
But they're already adrift. I mean, what part of the systems do they even control at this point? Can we actually
The force
to a
fields.
control? The force fields. Very good point. Can we find a panel actually and just see what is online?
Yeah, it's right around the corner. You just had to leave the airlock area.
Okay.
As soon as you guys walk around the corner, you do see a control panel. It's just one of those typical wall panels that gives you like, here's what ship systems are, here's what's going on, blah blah blah. You can tell that the ship has been manually turned offline. Like nothing is damaged. It is someone has physically went to a computer and said off button and turned the ship off. The impulse engines are offline. The warp singularity is it's still online, but it's inactive, which means it's not powering anything. The maneuvering thrusters are offline, but are able to come online as necessary to right the ship when needed.
So you're saying that the entire ship is purposefully offline, like no damage has been sustained?
Yes.
What the fuck is going on here? Shaymar says.
Basically, Colonel Lex goes to tap on the console to see who turned it off.
Okay. When you do that, a personnel profile appears of one of the medical officers. Centurion
Which
Drusilla.
medical officer?
Centurion Drusilla. The one you got the message from.
Okay.
That makes sense.
What the heck? Why did she turn it off?
As your
leading theory, is that she realized.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She realized that the ship was getting under parasite command, and she's tried to slow it down.
Exactly the same reason I wanted to power things off, probably.
Exactly, yeah. Especially since we now know that it was depowered by like a flick of a switch, it means it'll be really easy to turn on. So yeah, absolutely. Taking control is a good plan.
He turns to the chief engineer and goes, well, best time to lock out the systems now.
Yeah, I will lock it out to your command codes and mine.
All right, that'll be control engineering, difficulty 5, complication range 5. So basically everything at the max.
Okay, that's great. Am I using the ship systems to do this?
Yes.
Okay, so I will have I will be able to re-roll the ship's die, should we need to. Colonel, can you help me with this?
Yes, I can.
And you know what? If someone wants to also assist with security, they can.
I can do that.
Control security.
So yeah, Vodsky could help with engineering, but not with security. So yeah. Cool.
How many momentum do we have?
Security, and what was the attribute?
Control, and you have 3 momentum.
Okay, I will use one of those for an extra die.
This is my best stat on both of them.
And I will use 2 threat for 2 extra die, because I'm a bold engineer.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna keep the talent up for backup plans just in case. I'm just letting you know.
And what does that do again?
If one of us, if if we fail, either me or an ally fail at a task, I can add 1 point
to momentum.
to the
Okay.
And I'm going to use that determination I earned earlier to guarantee me an automatic critical success.
So if you're assisting, you can't use that.
I'm not assisting. I'm the one doing the roll.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at Andrew, so that's why I said that. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and make the roll.
So I only roll 4 dice then, right? Because the one is automatically a crit.
Well, how many did you buy?
I bought 3.
Then you roll 5. You still have the other one as a crit, but you still roll the amount that you bought.
I don't. Yeah. I think as the rules state, you can't ever roll more than above 5, and the automatic crit of 2 counts as 1, so you can only roll 4 dice.
I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't give a shit about that roll. That is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah, I always thought it was one of the dice that you rolled. So
I don't care.
But I'll roll 5 dice.
I really don't care.
Have a problem with that.
I looked for that rule and I could never find it, and I heard, because I watch a lot of Star Trek Adventures live streams, and some people do it and some people don't do it that way, and I just don't like it, so I don't care. Wow, but a lot of complications.
I want to invoke my value of my starship is my home.
Okay, that works here.
To use my other determination to re-roll that.
That's fine.
Because I cannot buy off that many complications.
Wow, you literally got the same roll.
Still cannot.
All right,
I mean, at least he's achieved. You still get 5.
Right, so we got 2.
Yeah.
So we got to 3. 6. And so you got 6 successes plus the 2 determinations.
Oh, and I can re-roll one of those dice. Aha, because I used bold engineering.
Okay.
So I'm re-rolling one of those complications.
Okay. If you get another complication, okay. So you have a total of 9 successes.
I'm gonna buy off the other complication.
Holy shit! What are all those rolls?
Yep. So that would give you 5. So 4. So you are at 7 momentum minus 2 for the complication. So you're at 5 momentum. So yeah, you basically not only do you have complete control of the ship, but as you're looking through the computer system on the control panel, you can tell that the Centurion Drusilla basically made it a lot easier somehow, probably with her computer science focus, for whoever gets on board with a bridge clearance to be able to easily take control of the ship from anybody else on the ship. Basically, she helped you guys out without really even, knowing who was coming, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but I guess she was banking on somebody coming to help. But either way, you managed to get it. So what would you like to do with it now that you have all this control of the ship?
Do you want me to try to isolate with force fields? This is actually something I'm particularly good at. It will immediately alert everyone that I've done this because they'll start running into force fields.
There's the input sensitivity button. Yes, there we go. Sorry.
Alternatively, we could try to do it sort of one small group at a time.
Up to the colonel here.
Colonel Carava, what do you think?
Why is the abbreviation CTD if you're a colonel? That's what was confusing me.
It's another game he's in, Cadet.
Ah, okay.
But before he responds, I will go ahead and tell you that on the upper corner of that panel, since you do have complete control of the ship, you are detecting an incoming Romulan warbird about 8 hours away.
Oh, okay. We got a time clock now.
Okay. Can we tell Can we tell if it's a standard warbird or if it's a particularly strange class or anything like that?
We'll get to that in a second. What were you saying, Carava?
What's the consensus?
Are we within hailing range? If we went back up to the ship, are we within hailing range?
I thought someone asked Carava something. I was waiting for his response before we go further.
Yeah, we did. The chief engineer wanted to know if you wanted to have him isolate bits and pieces
Everyone
of
on the ship by force fields, or we could do it individually if you want, or we don't have to do that.
Maybe by force fields. That'd be best.
But that will alert them to our presence and knowing that we have control of the ship.
Yeah, that's why I said I could do all at once, but it would alert them, or we could do it in small amounts.
Maybe in small amounts. But as long as we can get to it within a reasonable. Maybe if we wait. Maybe if we wait for a little bit for the Romulan ship to come, then put everybody in force fields. By the time they try to figure it out, the Romulans will be.
Those might not be Romulans on our side.
Exactly.
Also,
Yeah.
I think we need to gather more information here. We don't know much at all.
Yeah.
We've only seen 2 people.
We don't know the ship.
We haven't.
Yeah.
Through isolation would be best.
Can we? Another question. Can we, with this console, can we detect the Romulan that was the person? Sorry.
Yes, I will go ahead and tell you
me.
she's still in her quarters.
Excuse me. Before you make the decision of like anything else, you might want to check what ship that is.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, I need Mac, Karava, and Shamar to roll Insight Security difficulty 3.
That's complication range.
No, it just that you need 3 successes. You don't. You know what? Yeah. You just need 3 successes. So you can. You have 5 momentum. This will be the last roll of the game. You should probably use it. All right. So, and I'm only checking. I'm not worried about what the chief engineer and the science officer is rolling because I'm considering them preoccupied with the console. Difficulty 3. So Colonel Lex and Security Chief Shamar, you hear the sets of 4 Romulan combat boots coming in your direction from both sides, and you hear disruptor rifles being energized, and that's where we're going to end the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
So next game when we start, whenever that may be, I'll give you guys an opportunity to react before whatever happens, and then we'll see what happens. I wrote down one of your questions. Can we hail the Axia? Someone else asked me something else, but I don't remember what it was. Do y'all remember?
It was what class of ship it was, because Warbird is just very broad.
Yeah, this one's a D'Deridex,
so, yeah.
Traditional D'Deridex.
Okay. Yeah, and although of course now we're out of like character, we're out of scene, we're out of the moment. In the force field discussion, we won't be able to do it now because we're presumably under attack. But there's a secret hidden third option, which is I remember one of the episodes where Data went rogue, and he walked down the corridors of the Enterprise with force fields turning on and off around him based on where his comm badge was.
That's cool.
So yeah. We could do something along those lines.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that could be a thing. Also, could we put force fields around the control panels?
Around the control panels? I mean, that's gonna be way harder than just isolating 62 people.
Oh, isolating 62 people.
Yeah, it's not that many. Apparently, a lot of them are missing.
I think we need to, wax these dudes or whatever happens at that point. And I think we need to